the next chapter for a lot of these teams. We'll talk about that. Phillies win. They win their series, and they got a big one this weekend. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
When we grouse about a sweep for the Pirates, which you should be embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
You got to bring up the fact that the division-leading West, Dodgers, the division-leading Central, Cubs, you're 3-0 in series against those two teams.
That's why there's, to me, the misconception of, well, they can't beat any good teams. They only beat bad teams. They've played well against good teams, too.
We've seen something in the last few weeks that you guys have never seen. The erratic EKG nature of a baseball season.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Well, it's definitely been an erratic season for the Philadelphia Phillies. It is Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Johnny?
That was a week ago, that clip from that open, last Friday. Since then, the Mets have not won a game. And the Phillies have rampaged back into a tie for first place.
This is why
weird.
Did not panic during the bad 4-game losing streak, during the 9 of 10 stretch. I stand by what I have said. They are not good enough to win the World Series, but they are still a playoff team. They need to make moves before the deadline because if you look around Major League Baseball, to your point, the Mets have fallen apart a little bit.
Yeah, they're having their stretch like the Phillies had right now, and they roll into town tonight.
You want to go to the American League? The Yankees had to have a team meeting because they were losing consecutive games to the Angels and the Red Sox.
They're 1-6 in their last 7.
So it happens. And when people were panicked, and if I said something to the tune of, hey, I'm not freaking out, then I would get attacked by people on social media, like our buddy Dan Baxter. Oh, it's because you just love them and you're a homer. No, it's baseball.
Well,
now, was it bad? It was.
Now, but then you get the Dylan McTrollins, who then say, people telling us that they can't win anything. No, they can win. This team is currently constituted, could win this division. This team is currently constituted.
Absolutely.
They might, with a big capital M, might even find their way to a World Series.
I still think they win the division. I don't think the Yankees pitching holds up over the.
You mean the Mets?
I'm sorry. Yes, the Mets, the other New York team. I don't think the Mets pitching holds up, and they have a big weekend.
And you do think the Braves are dead?
Yeah, at this point,
I do not.
I know. Look, they had a great series against the Mets.
I do not think they're dead.
Which we appreciate.
I want a little more, maybe like I got to see a little bit more, but I want to see them dead.
Okay.
I want to see the body.
It's like the 49ers.
I want to see the body.
It's like the 49ers conversation we had last year.
I'm not falling for Michael Myers because I know that they've got just enough pitching and they certainly have enough star power.
Yeah, I got you.
That they could be dangerous.
10 games back
don't
in June.
let them in.
That's a big hole, man.
By the way, that's next weekend. We'll be talking about that one leading into next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk Phillies Mets over the course of the show today because it's a big series, and I think it's a series that will either send this city down a spiral that I don't want to be a part of, or it's going to cure a lot of people's disease when it comes to watching this Phillies team. But we're going to start somewhere differently. You had sort of that moment of clarity, and maybe scary clarity.
It is scary clarity.
That we could be nearing the end of certain chapters in Philadelphia sports.
I think that what we don't have is, I'm not sure, and I think some of the people who were worried during the 1-9 stretch, some of the people who you were engaging with on social media, I think what they were feeling is something we're going to talk about a little bit today. I think what they're feeling is the feeling of anxiousness that maybe we all need to feel a little bit more.
Okay.
Because I do believe we are in a period of the end of eras is coming. And this all started with last week when we woke up to Matt Gelb doing another great job with another piece where
he's awesome.
Where it just gets put out there flat out. Zach Wheeler is retiring.
Yeah.
Now, he's not retiring for 2 full seasons after this one. But Zach Wheeler's walking away from baseball. And you had talked to Jason Stark at spring training a year ago.
The day he signed his contract.
That was a year ago in March of 2024. And he had led you to believe that that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think people laughed it off and were like, oh, come on. Yeah. Who knows?
The day he signs the contract, you're already coming with this opinion.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
It's the opinion that's holding. I don't believe for 1 second that Zach Wheeler's in any way lying, or he's going to change his mind.
And based off the conversation I had with Jason Stark last year, it was Zach Wheeler is a prideful guy. He's one of those players that wants to go out when he feels like he's still pitching at a high level. He doesn't want to be a Rich Hill,
right,
who is 45 years old.
And he's banging around just taking contract.
He's in AAA right now. Like,
right.
He doesn't want to do that.
He's not going to do it. And so we have 2 more years after this one of Zach Wheeler, which I think is also a blessing for the Phillies franchise because it gives them a sense of urgency.
Correct.
It also then tells them, here's your timeline, here's what you need to do. And that's one of the reasons why, for me, Mick Abel right now, from what I've seen, is a no-go on leaving.
Okay.
The door's locked for me. But I think it spins out into other things, too. Kyle Schwarber's a free agent. Kyle Schwarber very much would, by all accounts, would like to be here. Mm-hmm. But he's taking it to free agency, and you know he's going to find suitors. And 3 years, $100 million has been talked about now by prominent Major League Baseball insiders.
Okay.
Are the Phillies going 3 years, $100 million?
I would think so.
I don't know. With the money that's on the books, to Harper, Turner, Nola, I don't know that they're going 3 years, $100 million to Kyle Schwarber.
Okay.
But the bottom line is this: when you go to free agency, you're playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
That's so there could be a sense of urgency there. But we're a week away. We're 5 days away from the NBA draft. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, the Sixers are making a mistake because they are going to once again try to say to us, we're still trying to build around Joel Embiid. I think that's a mistake, Andrew, and I disagree on that, and we go on many conversations about that.
Blue in the face.
But even Andrew would tell us that's coming to an end, right? We're not going to have many more conversations of years around building around Joel Embiid, right?
Yeah, I think this is the last contract.
Last couple years? Last couple years we're talking about that. We're dealing with that. The only team we don't have a window on are the Flyers have no window at all.
Right.
But we have to have a sense of urgency on things that has to affect our teams and how they go about their business here. Now, I don't want to see it mean that the Phillies go out and mortgage the future, worrying about, well, Zach Wheeler's got 2 years left.
Right, so let's try to win in these next 2 years.
But we're seeing the end of eras of players, of talent, of teams. The next 2 years are going to be fascinating in this town.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies are an old baseball team, right?
They're really old.
It's amazing. If you go to the I pulled it up, the average age, the Phillies are actually like 6th youngest, but that's
totally misleading.
Totally misleading because it's their bench guys or their bullpen guys that are really young. Here's your age. JT Realmuto, 34 years old.
Yep.
You got to start thinking about what's next. Nick Castellanos, 33. I don't think he looks old by any means, but you have to start thinking about what's next, and they have been because they've been trying to trade him. Harper's 32. Turner's 32. They're going to be here for a long time. Kepler's on a one-year deal at 32 years old. Schwarber is 32 years old, about to enter free agency. That's your 1 through 6 hitters, except for Alec Boehm, who's 28, going to be 29. The whole daycare nonsense, that's done because these guys are pushing 30.
Daycare? The Phillies are sponsored by a place for mom. Man, seriously.
Yeah.
Depends undergarments.
Yeah, they're getting
That's old. And the rework at some point has to start. And so if you don't meet expectations this year of any kind of level, a teardown coming? Maybe?
I saw an interesting tweet yesterday about that I will bring to your attention coming up next.
Okay.
Also, one player that you didn't mention, Lane Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
That's a guy that you have to start thinking about
It's a
what's
huge
next.
one.
So I have a question for you guys, the audience at 610-632-0975, but we'll discuss this as a show coming up next. Which of the teams that we just talked about, the Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers, are best prepared for the future? It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ray Dunn, Mike Missanelli.
You say something disrespectful, you're gonna.
tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, walking on the sand, no care, surfing in the sun, so free, just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, walking on the sand, no care, surfing in the sun, so free, just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, walking on the sand, no care, surfing in the sun, so free, just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, walking on the sand, no care, surfing in the sun, so free, just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time.
14 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. So I'll get this crazy tweet out of the way. You were talking about tear down. Now, you were talking about, like, after the season.
Yeah, after the season, not before.
So, John Foley, who I think does a good job. He does a lot of good Phillies content.
There's some funny stuff, too.
So he put out a
Oh, I saw this.
"Hear Me Out" tweet.
Yeah, I saw this.
Now, he did follow up and say, this tweet is sponsored by medical marijuana.
It had to be. Well, or a fever dream. He maybe had a fever dream.
No, it was...
Some of his premise was
I
outlandish.
think he admitted to maybe he was feeling a certain vibe when he put out the tweet.
Okay? Explain
he,
this.
He put out the Phillies sell at the deadline tweet. You trade JT to a team that needs a catcher. He believes you would get a pretty good return.
No. Didn't he say huge?
He said huge return.
Well, you would not get a huge return for JT Rebate.
You might.
Not a huge.
A starting catcher that can hand. Remember the Jason Stark quote? There was one GM in baseball that was salivating when he found out JT was a free agent.
Salivating. for
Remember
him.
that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So clearly there is still a belief that JT Realmuto it has some good baseball left in him.
People must not have the games to watch.
Trade Ranger equals huge return.
No, you're not getting a huge return on expiring
Trade
contract.
Schwarber equals return beyond our wildest dreams.
Another expiring contract.
Team enters 26 with more young, cheap talent than it had ever had, plus money to do anything. He then followed up with, yes, this tweet is sponsored by medical marijuana, but
I don't hate some of that.
he said things to consider. He said things to consider. Baseball Reference gives the Phillies a 3.3% chance to win it all this year.
That is correct.
So he says if you're, it's going to be a seller's market at the deadline, he believes. Phillies can't afford to bring back all three of those players that were mentioned, and the prospects that people don't want to trade stay put.
You're not affording Suarez and Schwarber. I don't hate some of it. Even though I'd hate to see Ranger go. I mean, that'd be awful.
It's not going to happen.
It'd be awful.
It's not
None
going
of
to
that's
happen.
remotely happening.
It's not going to happen. But, I found it interesting in the middle of the day on June.
But they're gonna hold JT till he's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're not trading anybody away. But it was an interesting
It was
tweet.
a fever dream.
All right, so we've been talking about the next chapter because there are legends or big name players, depending on how you look at certain players,
Sure.
in this city that could be coming toward the end of their time playing for their respective Philadelphia sports team. And one team we didn't really, one guy we mentioned at the very end there was Lane Johnson, because who knows how many years left. I know he said two.
I think two.
But then he has the quote the other day to Reuben Frank where he feels like he's just entering his peak, not his prime, but his peak.
Right.
Which is amazing at the age of 35. So which teams do you believe are best prepared for that next chapter? Losing Lane
Are we
Johnson.
taking Eagles off the table?
No, Eagles are on the table.
Because the Eagles are blow. That should be a
Yeah,
the
lock
Eagles,
one.
The
To
Eagles
me-
are the lock one. It's not close.
But the only concern is, all right, who is that? Like, they're going to have to draft the right tackle next year.
It's about a right tackle.
That's one position.
We have been saying for like 2-3 years now that they should probably do this.
Oh,
they
I would
should
say
probably
that.
do this.
But the thing is that's one position of they're locked and loaded on so many other places.
Right.
Like you can't. The Eagles should be taken off the board. Like there
You're
should
gonna
be
take
taken
them off the board.
I
They
think they
shouldn't.
should as well.
because they have one of the best young rosters in all of sports, let alone
Okay.
in this as far as future.
Because let's not just say that it's just Lane Johnson.
Okay, who is it then?
You said not long ago that
Okay.
you believe in the next 2 years or after 2 seasons we might see both A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley gone.
Oh, I do believe that's coming down the line.
So that's
But I think
your
replacing-
number one receiver, your
replacing a
2,000
running
yard
back?
running back, your right tackle.
Replacing a running back will not, with this offense and everything like that, will not in any way dwarf me in a couple years. That's not going to cause me to stay up at night.
Man, this is scary. This is a scary
What's
thing
that?
to think about. One off season where you lose all three of those guys. Because
Could
that's
happen.
a legit possibility. Where
don't- like-
two could retire. Who knows about Saquon? And AJ might go somewhere else.
Like, I don't think AJ will be here. I think AJ Brown will play a couple more years here.
That's scary to think about. That
Yeah,
all three of
it is
those guys
scary.
could leave in one offseason.
But the thing is Howie also has a boatload of draft picks.
Yeah, what 20?
I mean, it's
Just
unbelievable.
next year.
He's sitting there with so many draft picks to mess around with, and the cap situation has to be managed next year. It's going to be about signing people. It's going to be about signing people and drafting people. So I'm not worried about that. I'm certainly not worried about. Here's one, and this is no disrespect to Saquon. I am not in any way concerned about them being able to find a running back that can be extremely productive in this offense.
Okay.
But an A.J. Brown is an A.J. Brown.
Yeah, that will eventually be a big loss.
Yeah, but and no disrespect to Lane Johnson, you found Lane Johnson light in the 6th round out of New Zealand or Australia or whatever.
7th round.
7th round
Jordan
out of
Mailata.
Australia.
Yeah, but you know what? You also found Andre Dillard in the 1st round.
Okay, so then don't draft one in the first.
Okay, yeah, that's a good
You
plan.
got Jeff Stoutland, and he's not
Same
going
guy
anywhere.
found him.
Yeah.
And Jeff Stoutland was there for that, too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so this is a conversation that we'll have throughout the course of the show, but also coming up next, Phil's won. They won their series. We'll react to that, but they have a huge weekend ahead of them.
It's going to be huge.
And this series could cure a lot of sickness in this city or send us out of control. We'll discuss that coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatics Sports Update.
Phils take 3 of 4. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took down the Marlins 2-1 in a pitcher's duel last night to take the series win in Miami. Christopher Sanchez went 8 innings with 1 earned. A dominant start by him. He's been on a heater lately. So has the whole rotation. Kyle Schwarber hit the go-ahead homer in the 8th inning. On top of that, the Mets lost again last night. So the Phils and the Mets are tied at the top of the NL East, heading into a huge weekend series at the bank. Game 1 between Phils Mets is tonight at 7:15. Zach Wheeler on the mound against Blade Tidwell. The NBA draft begins on Wednesday. We had a lot of reaction yesterday to the news that Ace Bailey canceled his workout with the Sixers. Keith Pompey of The Inquirer joined the Mike Missanelli show and shared his thoughts.
They want him to go somewhere where he can become a superstar and be the man. So it's crazy, but it's not the first time that someone declined to work out for a team because they felt that the other team would have been a better fit for him.
The NBA and NHL drafts come your way next week. Last night, the Pacers took down the Thunder 108-91 to force a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. That Game 7 is Sunday night at 8 p.m. We're going to talk to Tim Kelly of On Pattison coming up at 8:55 for the latest on the Phils and a preview of Phils Mets. This update is brought to you by Batteries Plus. Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They still exist at Batteries Plus. Their expert knowledge on batteries will have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. I like that. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the NBA Finals in Philadelphia, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Bo, Bill Colorado.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun.
The weird stuff we've been talking about today, I wouldn't be shocked if anything pops up on your timeline.
So I'm guessing this will air. Oh no, this aired last weekend. The CBS Saturday Morning, which is a great news special that they run.
Is this Saturday morning or Sunday morning?
Well, this is CBS Saturday Morning.
Oh, they
but
do the Saturday morning
one's
too?
Great too.
Sunday
yeah.
morning's great. They do some really good in-depth stuff.
Remember the movie Her
No.
with
Oh, yeah, with Joaquin Phoenix,
Yeah.
where he dated the computer.
he dated the computer?
Who
I
had
did not.
Scarlett Johansson's voice, so would have gotten me too.
Did not. Do not remember it.
All right, so
Good flick.
Her has become reality.
What?
There's a guy in California
Well, that doesn't shock me. Stop right there. If it's California or Florida, I'm not shocked by anything.
was in love with his Chat GPT girlfriend. And it got to some weird
What do you
level.
mean Chat GPT girlfriend? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Chat GPT has
This is
girlfriends?
beyond
Oh,
my,
he probably just
this
said,
is-
act like my girlfriend.
This is beyond. Yeah. And he got blocked.
Oh,
He eventually got blocked. And so CBS Saturday Morning did a story on it.
You mean that he's a psychopath?
He's also actually married and has kids.
What?
He's cheating with the computer?
Yes.
No, he's a mental case. He needs to
That's
be
incredible.
He needs to be put in a room and studied. Wait. The guy is having a relationship he's thinking with a computer?
Haley just chimed in. She would marry her Chat GPT. We could do the first ever Chat GPT wedding live on the air.
My gosh.
Haley Taylor Simon GPT would be her last full name.
I know this is that when I get in my wife's car, she's got her GPS person is a British woman.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, you can change it. You can do Australian or
yeah.
British or
Okay,
whatever.
why?
I've heard Darth Vader before.
I said, why do you have a British woman as your Because I like the British accent.
It is a nice accent, mate.
I'm like, I
think
don't.
that was
first,
Australian.
First of all, I don't have a voice on my GPS. So my GPS just pops up on the dashboard. It pops up on the main screen or on the side screen.
Yeah, she took the time to do it.
But I don't have a voice. Mine doesn't speak to me.
She's tired of hearing your voice, so she
But here's
got
Well,
the-
yours
a
wouldn't be
British
able to get a
woman?
word in edgewise, so it's probably
A British woman? I'm like, oh my gosh.
all right, Phillies with another win yesterday. They take 3 of 4 in the 4-game series with the Marlins. Real high-powered offensive performance by both teams yesterday. A 2-1 final.
That's a bad game.
Phillies score runs in the
Except by
7th.
Christopher.
Yeah, Phillies score runs in the 7th and 8th inning. Christopher Sanchez, tremendous.
He
8
was awesome.
innings, 5 hits. Only struck out 4, but he was effective. Orion Kirkring got
So is he the
save
closer
yesterday.
or
He
just
was-
the closer
he
for
was
the day?
closer yesterday, yeah.
And by the way,
Get
there was
used to it.
and we saw from the pregame yesterday. Oh, there was no matchup thing the night before.
Yeah, he just
Oh, he
moves it
just
around.
decided that it was going to go Strom as the closer.
Maybe
the
he
night
wanted to
before.
go high leverage situation.
So in other words, no rhyme or reason. We're just doing it.
When Kirkring pitched, it was 9-1-2 in the order. Maybe he thought that was the more dangerous spot than 2-3 or 3-4-5. I don't know. This is what
Both worked.
This is what
It's
they do.
unbelievable. No.
One worked a little better for both
Yeah, one worked
exactly.
better than the other
No.
one.
Let Orion Kirkering see whether he can be your closer. Period. For God's sakes.
Hey, you know what should ultimately happen? Jose Alvarado should stop doing PEDs.
Yeah, that'd be
Because
nice.
this is the reason why we're even having this conversation.
And Alec Boehm, who has been really, really good at third, when he botches that ball last night, I said, this game's getting tied. I turned to Liv and I said, this game's getting tied. The minute I saw him make that, because he's made so many, he's been really, really
he's been
solid.
good, yeah.
And it's been almost like I forget that he used to,
Be horrible.
like fielding grenades.
He snapped out of it, man. It was unbelievable.
And it was just a routine play, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's gonna.
But they get the
backfire.
win. They win 2-1, and now
Nice job.
they've been on a bit of a roll here. They're 45-30, which is the exact same record as the New York Mets.
Uh-oh.
The Mets have lost 6 of their last 10,
Meet the Mets. Beat the Mets.
and the Phillies play them this weekend for 3 games at Citizens Bank Park. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7:15, 7:15, 7:10. I love it. This is a huge weekend series for everybody's collective sanity. It's either going to go one way where everybody's going to be happy, or it's going to go the other way, which is a way I don't want this city to go, where there is no belief whatsoever with the Mets series. I still believe, John.
You still believe?
Regardless of this 9 of 10 stretch that they went on, where they lost 9 of 10, the Phillies did. That Mets series that goes back to now, when did that happen? Was that in May?
That was in April, I thought.
In April?
Yeah.
That series put such a stain on this Phillies team, and it affected the brains of Phillies fans so much, where they got swept April 21st, 22nd, 23rd, where they lost that 3-game series to the Mets and looked lifeless, right?
And a variety of ways they lost.
Yeah, and it was a horrible series. And you were thinking maybe, all right, coming off of losing that playoff series last year,
they would have some fight.
You're going to come out with a little bit of fight, and they had nothing. And it was embarrassing, and it was sad. And I know the Phillies bounced back, beating the Cubs. They went on a nice stretch after that. But that Mets series put a stain on this team that can't get cleaned unless you have a good weekend this weekend against the Mets.
And we should absolutely demand that they have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Listen, May 29th, Phillies were 3.5 up in the division. June 9th, they were 5.5 out in the division. June 20th, we wake up, they're even. That's as erratic as you will ever see.
Yeah.
So now, will the real Phillies please stand up? You got a home series against the New York Mets. Show us what you can do. Show us what you're about.
Well, the question is,
are.
do we find out who the real Phillies are this week?
No, I hope we do.
Positively or negatively.
I hope we do.
Like, this is a series.
I'd like some answers.
I understand that 162 games, long season. You can't get up for every single game, right? Like, this is a big one tonight, boys. Like, you can't do that every single week. You can't do that every single month.
No
Obviously, you can't
excuses
do it every
for this
single
one,
day.
though. I don't want to hear that about this series.
This series, man, you're coming home. You got embarrassed by them in the playoffs last year. You got embarrassed by them earlier this season.
Correct.
You're tied for first place in the National League East. Now, if you sweep the Mets, does that mean you won the division? No. But could you put your stamp on what this division could look like in this upcoming 3-game series? You absolutely could, either positively, which we hope is the case, or if you lose two of three, or God forbid get swept again, this city is going to lose its collective mind, and I would not blame anybody.
I don't blame anybody if the Phillies go out and play like crap against the Mets and the Mets go out and win a series. And, well, if they win a series 2-1 and the Phillies play well, I'll wake up Monday morning and be like, okay.
Good series.
Good series.
Yeah.
Good series, played well. Who cares? Mets needed the bounce back. If the Phillies play like garbage
Right.
and lose the series, it matters. Last fall mattered. The matchup matters. But we'll see. We'll see how they respond. If they don't, if they respond with their lifeless selves, that's it. There was a lot of lifeless last night.
Yeah.
That was Christopher Sanchez was just stunning last night.
Maybe it was
And
getaway day, and you're thinking about the upcoming series because this is a big one. Like if it's on my mind, because you guys, when it comes to baseball, I'm cool, calm, and collected.
You
except
are
for like center field, right? Like
Yes.
and Jose Alvarado's PEDs. But like this is one of those series where I finally took that turn with the Embiid people that didn't like Embiid. I don't blame anybody for feeling a certain type of way about Embiid.
Yeah.
If the Phillies go out this weekend and play bad baseball, I will not blame anybody for freaking out.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah.
Because they deserve to. If the Phillies go out and play like garbage with this series, with this setup, with it, fans would absolutely have a right to go. Are you serious?
Yeah.
You can't get up for this series?
And by the way, this is the beginning of, now all of a sudden you blink, a difficult stretch.
To the All-Star break.
You got the Mets. You got 3 in Houston against the Stros, who are back on top in their division. 3 in Atlanta against the Braves. Braves, you have a 10-game lead over, but, you
don't want to open that door.
Exactly. And then 3 at home against the San Diego Padres,
And then you have
who are playing good baseball.
Then you're going to have 4 with them in San Diego before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So you get all your Padres games are coming up before the All-Star break. This is a tough month, and it starts tonight. See what you can do. Show us what you're about.
Connor, how do you feel about that? Because you are a lot more relaxed than I am, but this is a big one, dude.
Got to take 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care if they play well. If you lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets, that's a disappointing failure by this team. You've got them in your building. You got to take 2 out of 3 because you need to prove you can beat this baseball team. Like, if they were to get swept right now by the New York Mets, it wouldn't kill them in the division or anything like that. It doesn't mean it's over. Remember, we have significantly more time left in the regular season than we do between where we're at now and where we were when they got swept into April. So, like, you can easily make that up, but it's not whether or not this team's good enough. It's whether or not they can play this damn Mets team. They just have not matched up with them well for what feels like forever. So go out there and win 2 or 3. You've got an auto win tonight. You have Zach Wheeler throwing against a guy with a 14 ERA.
Yeah, but his name's Blade Tidwell.
That is a cool
honestly,
name.
dude,
He was a villain on The Bold and the Beautiful.
That's one name matchup.
Blade Tidwell.
Name matchup advantage Mets tonight. Blade Tidwell is an incredible name.
I'm taking over Forrester Creations.
No, but they got to win tonight. They got to win 2 out of 3 in this series, or we're going to be very disappointed.
You got to be kidding me. Blade Tidwell?
It's a great name.
Well, first of all, the Tidwells.
Tidwells.
Welcome into the Tidwells. We're glad you could make it to our party here in the Hamptons.
Yeah, but when you throw Blade in front of it, it sounds different.
This is my son, Blade. Welcome in. The Tidwells are glad to have you here. Meet our daughter, Macy.
After today, I'm going to root for Blade Tidwell.
Macy's not that bad of a name.
Our daughter, Macy Tidwell.
All right, coming up next.
I know some
Mr.
nice
Tidwell.
Savannah Tidwell.
We'll check our text
Our golden
line
retriever.
for the first time this morning at 610-632-0975. Also, Phillies Mets, I believe, is a little bit more of a heated rivalry than Phillies Braves. Now, there's a reason why I say that. After something that went down last night, it's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
If Castellanos
Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, walking on the sand, no care, surfing in the sun, so free, just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, walking on the sand.
I just kind of made the statement about this Phillies Mets series and how this city could either send us down a spiral or cure our sickness with this Phillies team. I'm curious. I'll ask the question for the audience at 610-632-0975. How much stock are you putting into this series? Because this is one of those series where if it looks bad, I will not blame a single soul Monday morning if we come in here and people are freaking out about the baseball team. I won't blame anybody. And you can hold me to it. That doesn't mean I think the season's over or that I don't think they will win the division. Much like we just said, sweeping the Mets would not win you the NL East. I don't think getting swept by the Mets would lose you the NL East, right? It's a 3-game difference either way. But the psyche, the mental psyche of this fan base with this baseball team that's already kind of been tough to deal with at times, if they lose to the Mets and it looks bad, I don't blame anybody.
See, now that's the only thing I would take issue with what Connor said when you asked Connor his question about the weekend. I honestly, I will roll in Monday morning and hold me to it. If the Phillies play like a pretty clean series and they lose 2 out of 3, I'm not in the least bit going to be. I won't even blink.
Does it do anything for you that it's at home though? It's Citizens Bank Park.
No, I won't even blink.
No, that's a major issue.
Like it was. I won't. I'm just saying for me, it won't. It won't affect my psyche about the whole season or anything in the least. If they go out and play a poor series, that will affect me. And if they play a poor series, even if they win it, if they're playing poor baseball, that will affect me worse. Even if they lose. Yeah, because it's just, I want to see this team play good baseball.
See, now here's the problem.
No, I want to see them win.
Odds are you're not going to see a clean series because this team is not a clean baseball team.
Gosh,
so I don't think you're going to be happy either way.
No, but look, again, like last night, I don't give a damn about what Alec Boehm did. I had nothing to say about Alec Boehm. Like he goes, I had one guy on my timeline go, oh, can't wait to hear him kill Boehm. No. Alec Boehm's been fantastic for a long stretch of time.
If it was Turner, you
and I
would
said it yesterday.
Said something.
Guys are going to make errors. And look, he booted a ball at a bad time. That was a terrible time to do it. But I'm not worried about that. That rolls right off my back, something like that. I want to see the Phillies play a good series. You can have an error and still be, and it's not a bad series or anything like that. It's when you do stupid base running mistakes and things like that. That's the kind of stuff that bothers me.
No, I got you. But if the Phillies play a clean series and they can't beat this Mets team at home, that bothers me more than if they make mistakes that we've already seen from this team.
They lose 2 out of 3. They lose one. They win a game 5-2. They lose a game 4-3. They lose a game 3-1. That's going to freak you out more?
I mean,
that's a little offense against a Mets rotation that I don't think is all that good.
But the Mets rotation has been one of the best in baseball.
They've been good in baseball. But
okay, they've been one of the best
right now, though.
They do, and they've been one of the best in baseball. Honestly, it won't. I'm not going to freak on a June series if you lost 2 out of 3. The way the Phillies have been playing, if they play well.
That doesn't say to you, though, like you played a clean series against this team in your ballpark with momentum, and you're not good enough to beat them?
No, it doesn't tell me at all because I watched the Mets last year. The Mets last year at this point were still under 500. It didn't mean anything in October. It didn't mean one damn thing. The Phillies have been dominant. And the Mets had been a train wreck and were under 500, and nobody thought they were legit. And at this time, and then by the time October rolled around, The Mets had it all figured out, and the Phillies were the team that were in their heads. I'm not going to worry about a June series unless I see more of the Phillies continual shooting themselves in the foot. This is more to me about the Phillies than it is about the Mets.
Okay.
I'm going to see more about the Phillies than the Mets.
All right, curious how much stock people are going to put into this series. You could text and call.
I wonder about that, how it's gonna go.
632-0975. I mean, because I do believe if they lose, this city's going to be in a really bad way with this baseball team. So before we went to break, I talked about how the Phillies-Mets rivalry, I think, is a little bit more heated than Phillies-Braves, at least right now, right? Because considering the playoff series this past year, right? It can fluctuate every other year. Phillies-Braves was a great rivalry just a couple of years ago, those two playoff series. Last night, we saw fireworks between the Padres and Dodgers. Fernando Tatis Jr. was hit earlier in the series. Very next inning or 2 innings later, the Padres retaliated by plunking Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, you mean so they actually felt we're going to defend our best player by hitting your best player? And it's interesting.
Again,
that's sort of what teams tend to do in baseball. I agreed
with you. I wanted the Phillies to retaliate.
What did their managers do when that happened?
Well,
did they stare off into space?
Hold on. The brawl does not, or the brawl, the hold me back.
The game of grab ass?
Does not start until Tatis Jr. gets hit a second time.
Correct.
Which, now this is theater, right? So Tatis gets hit. All right, you hit our guy, we'll hit your guy that hit Ohtani. And then they hit Tatis again last night in it was a 5-0 ball game in the top of the ninth inning.
Last game of the series.
And then Dave Roberts and Mike Schilt, who's the Padres manager.
By the way, total jerk. The man, I had to deal with him back in the day when he was the Cardinals manager in Atlanta at one time. Total jerk.
Well, he looked like he was ready to throw hands with Dave Roberts. And then Dave Roberts is dropping we'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. We'll see you again.
Well, no, not even that. We'll see you in the tunnels. After the game. I don't know what ended up going down. But to your point, that is something that this Phillies team missed earlier this year. And I was okay with it in that game not happening because, remember, it was a 1-0 ball game. But not ever doing it. And I have said, baseball players don't forget, so maybe we see something later on this year. But there were a lot of people that pointed to the Phillies not retaliating and then the losing that transpired afterward. Could have it just been a coincidence? Absolutely could have just been a coincidence. But I do believe there are moments where you could try to galvanize your team a little bit with a little bit of a spark. And yesterday, I don't know.
Good.
I don't know who needed the spark more. Dodgers obviously are the best team in baseball. The Padres have been losing a little bit recently, 3-7 in their last 10. But man,
I like the fire. I like seeing.
I do too.
The managers engaged. I like seeing teams defend their best player. Like, imagine if somebody hit Bryce Harper in a big matchup. Oh, wait a minute. We did see that. And what did we see? Nothing.
That was electric, though. The two managers are ready to go.
I love it. And you know what? Send a message. We got more games this year.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
All
right, coming up next, we'll reset the show. We'll check our text messages for the first time this morning. Climb in on this Mets conversation. How much stock are you putting into this series? 610-632-0975. We're also talking about the next chapter in Philadelphia sports when some of these big-name players could be on their way out. Speaking of big-name players, to start the 7 o'clock hour, ESPN put together their all-quarter century team in the NFL. How many former Eagles are on it? How many current Eagles are on it? We'll go through it next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A tie atop the East. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies beat the Marlins 2-1 yesterday in a pitcher's duel. They win the series 3-1. Christopher Sanchez went 8 innings with 1 earned in a dominant start, and Kyle Schwarber hit the go-ahead homer in the 8th in a really big spot. And on top of all that, the Mets lost again last night, so the Phillies and Mets dead even heading into a big weekend series between those two teams at the bank. Game 1 is tonight at 7:15 p.m. Zach Wheeler against Blade Tidwell, the pitching matchup in this one. The NBA draft begins on Wednesday. We had a lot of reaction yesterday to Ace Bailey canceling his workout with the Sixers. Keith Pompey of the Inquirer joined the Mike Missanelli show yesterday and shared his thoughts.
They want him to go somewhere where he can become a superstar and be the man. So it's crazy, but it's not the first time that someone declined to work out for a team because they felt that the other team would have been a better fit for him.
Both the NBA and NHL drafts come up this week, so we keep you updated on the news cycle surrounding that. Last night, the Pacers took down the Thunder 108-91 to force a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Game 7 is on Sunday night at 8 p.m. We're going to talk to Tim Kelly of Vaughn Pattison at 8:55 this morning on the latest on the Phils. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the NBA Finals in Philadelphia, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Join 97.5 The Fanatic for a live broadcast with Fly.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me.
97.5 The Fanatic. So coming up to start the 7 o'clock hour, ESPN did their all-quarter century team. They did a 53-man roster and practice squad. Basically, the practice squad is the honorable mention. So we'll go through that coming up to start the 7 o'clock hour because there are Eagles on this list. But let's check our text line first on our discussions about the next chapter of Philadelphia sports once some of our stars and legends or just big-name players are on their way out. And then also this upcoming Phillies-Mets series. How much stock are you putting into it? I just have a feeling that this series is going to send this city one way or another. If they win, I think people will be cured, John. I think people will stop always saying that this team's not going to make the playoffs and that they stink. At least I hope.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about that. You say that. What is your buddy? Your buddy who emails you with the manifestos on the 20...
Joe G.
Okay, Joe G.
Yeah.
Do you think if the Phillies beat the Mets, win 2 out of 3, take over first place again, you think you have an email on Monday morning in your mailbox?
Positive?
Telling you... Yeah.
Yes.
Telling
Yes.
you that they're good. The Eagles.
Joe
the
G
Phillies
goes to
are good?
games all the time, so I would
No,
not
but telling you that they're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so his whole tone will change.
I'm
on
sure
that?
he's listening right now. So Joe G, let
Then
me
we'll
know.
tell him that they change.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's good because I'm saying is I think people that are embedded in this Phillies team isn't good enough aren't willing to move. Like right now, we're all like we said with the Phillies and the Eagles, where I said last year before the season started, you guys are going to have a NFC Championship game pregame show.
Yeah.
You got plans that day. I will go as far as to say the Phillies are a playoff team and can win the division. That's it. That's as far as I'll say on this team as currently constituted. I'm not confident to say this team's winning 2 series or going to the NLCS or going to the World Series. I need to see a lot more.
Yeah.
Because the 1-9 team existed.
Right.
And it was real and it was
Horrible. Yeah.
And the team that we've seen the last week exists.
Yeah. And it was a lot more fun.
We don't know which team shows up on any given night.
Yeah. But I've also I'm witnessing it with the Yankees. We just watched it with the Mets. Like, it happens. What do we got in the text line, Connor, at 610-632-0975?
Andy from Wallingford will lead us off, and he says, I'm putting a lot of stock in this Phillies-Mets series. If the Phillies lose the series, I hope Dombrowski starts to make moves immediately for an outfielder or relievers.
Now, I do wonder, and I don't think Dombrowski would make a trade like next week just because the series does not go
I don't
well.
think that people are trading on June the 23rd.
But what I'm curious, I talk about the psyche of us, right, and the fan base. If they win this series, it should be a celebratory week. If they lose the series, good luck. If the Phillies players lose this series,
Yeah, you mean if it's a poorly played series?
how do they respond? Because we've seen this team respond. Remember when they lost 4 straight games? They responded with that big first inning outburst against the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays.
And then the next 2 games they lost, and then that was the beginning of the.
That was the
spiral.
1 win in 10.
Yeah,
That was the one game they won out of 10.
right. And then they lose 2 of the next 2. Then they get swept by the Pirates. Like, it was really bad. If they get I don't even have to say swept. If they lose 2 of 3 to the Mets in Citizens Bank Park, where there will be rowdy Mets fans, that's going to happen.
Which, by the way, is something about this weekend that I'm not looking.
Yeah, I hate it.
It's so embarrassing.
You know the loud grousing. There's the G word again of
There it
the
is.
Phillies will get even louder in this city.
It will.
How do they respond? Like, this series, I don't think is just important for us as fans. All right.
No, I think it's a lot of different things.
It's a clubhouse thing too.
Here's what I don't understand is how come we don't take over Citi Field? We take over opposing stadiums like everywhere.
Well,
How come we don't take over Citi Field when Citi Field is usually a third empty?
so
Why do they all come down here?
there is reasoning behind it. One, who wants to go to Citi Field? Citi Field versus Citizens Bank Park is not even a contest. 2, our old buddy Tyrone Johnson made this point numerous times. It is less expensive for a Mets fan to make that drive to Citizens Bank Park and the tickets He's looked it up before. It's less expensive than making the drive, paying for parking in New York City or near that ballpark, because apparently the parking is through the roof. Because
it's big. Yeah, it's terrible.
Where else are you parking your car?
I think it's $35 or $40 to park.
Probably for a compact car.
No, for a regular car, it's $35.
Yeah, imagine
or
if you're driving an SUV or something.
Yeah, it might be even more.
So it's actually
Ray was just there.
Okay,
so Ray can give us that number later on.
So it's actually less expensive, and depending on where you live around New York, it might be less time getting to Philadelphia than driving around that part of New York.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's nasty.
So that's part of the reason.
Have you been to Flushing?
I've not, no.
Okay. First of all, I think you should go.
Okay.
I
would go.
By the way, I think your impression of Citi Field's off.
Okay.
Completely off. I absolutely, I've been to Citi Field 5-6 times.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it.
On par with Citizens Bank Park?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but not on par, but you're making it sound like it's a dump.
Citizens Bank Park's better ballpark.
It's not a dump. And in fact, I got to tell you, and I think Ray talked about it a little bit when he went up there. The food offerings, the drink offerings, and everything.
Yeah.
If you're talking about, because people put I don't do that because I don't eat at games.
Right, I don't care enough.
So, I don't care enough.
But every year the Mets drop here's the new menu.
No, but I'm telling you, their offerings are as good as any I've ever seen in a stadium.
They had the cookie one this year, right?
It's unbelievable.
The hot dog one was fake.
The hot dog one was
the
fake.
AI generated.
No, the cookie one was still real though.
Yeah, the cookie one was real.
Yeah, you could have that.
All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Give us one more text message, Connor, before I get to this quarter-century team.
All right, a totally different thought here from this texter. They say this Mets series pretty much means nothing to me because if the Phillies win, the Mets pitching staff is riddled with injuries, so what do you really learn? Nothing.
Well, Kodai Senga's hurt. Was it Canning in game 2? Like, it's they're not throwing, like, slop arms. I'm going to guess. Has that person texted before?
Yeah, they have.
Are they normally negative?
Let me see. I got to scroll back through.
That sounds like I'm usually a negative Nancy when it comes to the Philadelphia Phillies. That's just my guess. Because you're not going to because they go, I'm not going to learn anything from this if the Phillies win. If the Phillies lose, then they're going to start saying,
whoa. I just scrolled back in their text messages. June 17th, they say this Phillies winning streak means nothing unless the Phillies beat the Mets. So they went
exactly what I'm saying. I knew it. This person is a negative Nancy.
No. See, now we look at them differently. I look at that consistently. They're consistent. They mean it.
This winning streak means nothing.
Wait a minute. No. That's consistent.
It's completely opposite, John. I'll read you the two texts.
Okay.
On June 17th, they said this Phillies winning streak means nothing unless the Phillies start beating the Mets. Today, they say this Mets series pretty much means nothing to me. Because if the Phillies win, the Mets pitching staff.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I knew that there was a negative Nancy tone to that.
Forget that.
Senga is not pitching today, but Griffin Canning is going game 2, who's having a very good season.
That's another one.
And David Peterson is 5-2 with a 2.60 ERA. He's having a tremendous season.
Griffin Canning.
So don't get this is what I'm talking about. There are just some people that love to hate.
I'm Griffin Canning. I'm here to take over Newman Enterprises. I mean, seriously, what's with these names?
Come on, man.
My gosh. It's like Little League Travel Ball. This is the Travel Ball Name Hall of Fame.
That makes no
Griffin Canning.
You think if you played Travel Ball, your name
Griffin
changes?
Canning. You know what? Yes. Haven't you ever seen the thing? It's Caden and Jaden and Hayden and all the names they now have.
It's just generational.
People are changing names. It's next generation.
Yeah, I always send Connor, that guy. He always makes me laugh. He always reminds me of Connor, the guy who does the travel ball. They always will send you those. Yeah. I'll send you those reels. The guy reminds me of Connor.
The fake big belly?
No,
that guy's not there.
This guy's very fit.
The dude who wears the glasses and like all the gear and everything.
He always reminds me of Connor. He just has a Connor energy about him. He's very positive. He's very bouncing around, or he's very like keyed up. We got to get this win today, boys. Let's do it, boys.
Keyed up.
Always think of Connor.
All right, quarterbacks on the all-century team. Quarter century team.
Quarter.
Brady, Manning, Mahomes, the practice squad, Rodgers and Breeze.
Totally fair.
Practice? Wait a minute.
I told you they have practice squad.
Rodgers doesn't practice.
All right.
He refuses to practice.
Running backs.
He's doing ayahuasca.
Now.
Ayahuasca.
Yes. Running backs. Their number one back. I loved him. Had his jersey. This was one of the first sit-downs my father had about fandom. I'll let you support another player, but you are not a fan of that team.
Okay.
I had a Priest Holmes jersey. They have Priest as the lead back.
What?
Like, I liked him.
What?
Dude, he's a stud, but
What?
number one,
What?
That's bait.
That's quick clickbait.
Christian McCaffrey, 2.
Crystal McCaffrey.
Derrick Henry, 3. Practice squad, LaDainian Tomlinson, and that's it.
See, that's bull.
No Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, that's bait. They'll already invalidate the
That's
list.
No Adrian Peterson.
We will hear from AP later.
Yeah. Behind bars, maybe. Fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. I'm fine with that. Receivers. Do we have any Eagles here? Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones. T.O. makes the list.
Of course it does.
Marvin Harrison, Justin Jefferson. The practice squad players, Antonio Brown, who before
He's another one that doesn't practice.
before he went, cuckoo,
He's wanted for
great.
murder.
Andre Johnson, the other wide receiver.
Gosh.
Quickly, I'll give you tight ends because nobody's sitting holding their breath for offensive linemen, even though the Eagles are on it. Rob Gronkowski, tight end. Travis Kelce and Tony Gonzalez, and then Antonio Gates is the practice squad tight end.
Totally makes sense.
So coming up next, we'll go through the offensive line and the defense because the Eagles start appearing a lot on this list.
Wow.
All-century, quarter-century team. My question, does any of this matter to you? I'm curious to get your opinions on this. Like, do you get pride out of this? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo, Aaron Nola,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care. Surfing in the sun, so free. Just the beach, the waves and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sunny days and ocean blue. Waves are calling me and you. Surfboard ready, time to ride. Feel the freedom, feel the tide. Summer on the beach, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking on the sand, no care.
It is 7-Eleven here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Friday morning. Beautiful weather today after yesterday's heat and then yesterday's doom with the storm. Part of the roof here at One Bala
Ripped off.
Is
It's in the parking
is out
lot.
in the parking lot.
And the way that I come in, because I come in a different way, I come up Belmont. By the way, if you're coming up Belmont from the Wawa towards City Line, you have to drive, at least this morning, they may have gotten out and cleared it. You have to drive, I had to drive around debris,
Yeah.
branch debris, big time. And then when I pulled into the parking lot here, there are giant limbs in the parking lot. There are not trees.
Yeah,
that
no.
these limbs, where these limbs came from, I have no idea. And there are shrubs in the parking lot that I have no idea where the shrubbery came from.
Yeah.
Now, our side of the parking lot where we park,
Fine.
when I came in, looks like nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's
Wild
amazing.
how just a little bit of a difference.
That would be living in the South and having to deal with tornadoes and things like that.
Oh, I'm sure.
I would say that was I would believe that we had a microburst,
Microburst.
which they would say would be like the smaller thing, that it seriously like went down a corridor that went down the back of this building, but not the front.
Yes.
And we had one happen in our neighborhood where a part of our neighborhood, people lost roofs, and part of our neighborhood, the other side of the same
Oh, yeah.
block, lost nothing.
Yeah, it's
Nothing at
It's
all.
unbelievable how
Shutters,
how that
things
can,
like
how
that.
that can happen. So
Weather do be crazy.
So pray for us here at One Bala Plaza
It
because
do be. It
we
do
we
be.
lost some of our roof. Funny. All right.
Terrible.
So the quarter century team that ESPN put together, the offensive lineman. So left tackle, it sucks because you can only put so many guys on there. They have Joe Thomas and Trent Williams. They do not have Jason Peters, and they don't even have him on the practice squad,
That's stupid.
which
That's stupid.
think is insane.
That's
He's
absolute
a
insanity.
first ballot Hall of Famer. I know the last couple of years of his career, maybe people have a different opinion of him because of the on the field, off the field, constantly getting hurt and playing way too long because he should have retired years earlier. But let's not have that all of a sudden change our opinion on him. Like, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He's absolutely there.
By the way, via the International Player Pathway, they put Jordan Mailata on this list
Okay.
as the practice squad at
I mean,
left tackle.
makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
He's the best international player in the NFL.
Yes, that is true. Left guards, Alan Faneca, who's great, Steve Hutchinson. But they have Jason Kelsey as the lone center on the all-quarter century team.
Okay, quarter century team. I wouldn't see that there'd be
good
another
for
one.
him.
Gotta be.
necessary.
Right guards, they have Zach Martin, Marshall Yanda, and Jari Evans.
Okay.
Right tackle, Lane Johnson, the starting right tackle of the quarter century
Okay.
team.
That's got to be.
Deservedly so, yeah.
Yeah,
With
that's
Willie Anderson from the Bengals and Ravens as the backup. And then defense is when it gets interesting. DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen, Myles Garrett, Julius Peppers as your edge rushers. TJ Watt didn't even make it. He's a practice squad player, as is Michael Strahan. Like, defense, it's some great names here.
Michael Strahan gets a lot of shade thrown at him because of the fact that was given that record.
Yeah, the last sack. He was
Which
still
was totally-
he was still a tremendous
He was
player,
a tremendous
though. Yeah.
player, but he never should have had that record. But still.
Defensive tackles: Aaron Donald, Calais Campbell, Chris Jones. Practice squad: Kevin Williams, Cameron Hayward. No Fletcher Cox. But the thing is,
I don't think Fletcher Cox should.
I know these guys are so these guys are good.
Those guys are good. I don't think Fletcher. I no disrespect to Fletch.
Yeah, I mean, this whole list is pretty much Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
so if you
yeah,
don't
exactly.
make it,
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
okay.
Like nose tackle Vince Wilfork. They put versatile defensive lineman J.J. Watt. Sure. Linebackers: Ray Lewis, Bobby Wagner, Brian Urlacher, Levante David, Luke Kuechly, and then the practice squad: Derek Brooks. Cornerbacks: Darrell Revis, Champ Bailey, Rondé Barber, Richard Sherman, Patrick Peterson. The practice squad: Jalen Ramsey. Your safeties: Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu,
Can't argue
Doc,
much. Right.
Earl Thomas, Charles Woodson practice squad, and then you got your special teams guys.
Ray Lewis on there. You need the getaway car. You never know when you need the getaway limo. Getaway car, but the getaway limo is necessary.
So let me ask you: do you guys get any like sort of pride out of that? Like,
No,
yeah, I do.
not in the least.
So this does nothing for you.
Nothing. No, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but I get to
'Cause
say,
first
like,
of
I
all-
watch
'cause first
these
of all,
guys wear my favorite team's
a third of
colors.
that list was BS. So
third. No,
immediately
not a
once
third, not a
yeah,
third.
there was a bunch of stuff on that list, and I'm like,
third?
I think
No.
one position, running back.
Yeah.
no, but I
Dude,
mean, it's
come
not,
on,
no, but as
third.
far as who were starters, who was practice squad, I'd switch stuff, and then there were guys who weren't mentioned. I'm like, okay, no.
Who?
So I'm just
What did
saying,
you
as
have a
far as
problem with?
name with
Other than the running back,
I'm
which
not
one did
giving
you
this
have-
list air. I'm not even giving this list air when I heard some of the stuff. It's like it's that if the list immediately I can hear the list and the listening ears go off. Where
What?
it goes, yes, I can hear a list and the listening ears go off.
I think they got running back wrong. I think
To
Peter should have been on there.
It was ridiculous.
But
and
I think
then
the rest of it's pretty darn good.
Dude, I don't know why you're so out.
Because the minute I hear something so stupid that it's like, okay, I cannot take this person's view of football. If that's their running
Well,
back
this is
list.
the entire
I'm like, boom.
ESPN staff.
That's crazy.
Now, look, Priest Holmes deserves to be mentioned in this.
Mentioned? Yeah.
I agree with you. I wouldn't put him as the lead back.
That's
but-
ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. That's stupid.
Right, but that's one position. That kills the...
Yeah, you're
No,
killing.
but-
You're,
no,
you're
because
saying
what
that's
I'm
killing
saying
the
is-
entire
yes,
list
because
for you?
well, first off, I'm not a list.
I know you're
I'm
not.
not a list.
I know you're not a listman.
So because I just think I'm not a listman. You know what I'd rather hear? I'd rather hear like where you say one analyst that I really respect, or one thing that I hear their list more than here's the compilation list, because sometimes the compilation list I can't identify who I think's stupid. So then I want to be able to know who I think's stupid. Like Pete Prisco puts out his list.
got it.
So, yeah.
And we'll get to
Right,
later
exactly.
later on the show with that.
And I can then identify and go, Pete, I can hold Pete accountable and say, that's a really good list. Or I think, okay, Pete did a good job on that, but I question this one, but really good list. I think that's a little different. A little bit different.
I can't believe you're so out on this.
A listman. I'm not a big listman.
I didn't think it was really all that off, except for the Priest Holmes one.
Yeah, but the thing
And
is that
I'm a
I hear
Priest Holmes
Priest
fan.
I hear Priest Holmes and I go,
Oh, what, you think he stinks?
no. I just don't think. He's your lead back? No.
Hell of a player.
A quarter century? No.
All right, so coming up next, earlier in the show, we started off talking about what's next for some of these players, some of these teams in Philadelphia. I want to use that list that you just completely ignored to continue that conversation.
I mocked it.
How did the
Didn't ignore
Eagles
it.
respond the last time some of their legends left? We can use this list as information, Johnny. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sanchez dazzles in South Florida. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took down the Marlins 2-1. It was a pitcher's duel last night, but the Phils take the series win in Miami anyway, with Christopher Sanchez going 8 innings, 1 earned. Another great start out of him. Kyle Schwarber hit the go-ahead homer in the 8th inning in a real big spot. On top of that, the Mets lost again last night, so the Phils and them are tied at the top of the NL East, heading into a huge weekend series at Citizens Bank Park. Game 1 is tonight at 7:15 p.m. Zach Wheeler on the mound, facing off against Blade Tidwell. The NBA draft begins on Wednesday. We had a lot of reaction yesterday to Ace Bailey canceling his workout with the Sixers. Keith Pompey of the Inquirer joined the Mike Missanelli show and talked about Bailey's decision.
They want him to go somewhere where he can become a superstar and be the man. So it's crazy, but it's not the first time that someone declined to work out for a team because they felt that the other team would have been a better fit for him
Last night, the Pacers took down the Thunder 108-91 to force a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Game 7 is Sunday at 8 p.m. We'll have that coverage for you here on The Fanatic. And the NBA and NHL drafts both come up this coming week. Tim Kelly will join us coming up at 8:55 to talk some Phils. This update's brought to you by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is your chance to reclaim your restless nights and upgrade to a premium mattress. Get matched, sleep at night. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the NBA Finals in Philadelphia, 97.5.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. So John Kincade hates the ESPN quarter century.
Well, just like you hate the ESPN,
The computer.
yeah, the FBI.
Yeah,
it's like,
well,
look,
that's
there's
different.
things. No, it's not different. What's different about it? What's different about it?
Computer's
You
out to
take
get
something.
us.
You take something, and you think that it's nonsense. I think that's nonsense.
It's like Pro Football Focus.
Priest Holmes, for God's sakes.
So let's think back.
Yes.
So our topic that we started the show, and we'll get back to our text messages on the Phillies Mets series and how much stock you're putting into it, because I do believe that if they win, it might cure a lot of the sickness here in Philadelphia. If they lose, I think we're going to be in for a really, really rough Monday.
My buddy Joe, who I'll hopefully see golfing tomorrow, he says flat out, you go, must-win series.
Yeah.
And I go, it's not a must-win, Joe. He goes, no, it's a must-win. You have to establish dominance in the division. I'm like, no.
Dude, I'm telling you, if they lose 2 of 3, regardless of how they play, if they lose 2 of 3, God forbid they get swept again, this city is going to lose its mind.
Oh, no.
And Monday morning will be a wild day.
No, I don't doubt that the alarmists are going to lose their mind.
I think the fencists are going
Really?
to join the alarmists. Yeah, dude. It's not been
Okay.
It has not been fun talking about this baseball team this year.
Okay.
Even before they got swept by the Mets and the Phillies were winning games, people they haven't beaten anybody yet. And then they lose to the Mets and people point that out. All right, so we'll get back to those texts. So earlier in the show, we started talking about the next chapter in Philadelphia sports because there are going to, like, Joel Embiid's not going to be here much longer. Lane Johnson's not going to be here much longer. Saquon,
No, they're not, right?
A.J. Brown, right? And you see it with the baseball team. The baseball team quickly got old. So let's just use this all-century list or quarter-century list that we just went through. And let's talk about how the Eagles responded to losing star players, right? They're all superstars.
Yeah, how did they
That's
do
why
that?
they're on this list. So after T.O. left, obviously it wasn't great. Deshaun Jackson eventually got here, and he was tremendous, but the team itself, it's not like they ended up winning a Super Bowl, right? And the T.O. thing, that was a whole different sort of saga. That was
Absolutely.
That was just a disaster. When they lost Jason Peters, who didn't make this list somehow, they had Jordan Mailata.
Okay.
So they did well with the replacement to Jason Peters. Jason Kelsey. Cam Jurgens done a hell of a job. That's Super Bowl champion Cam Jurgens. So they've done a good job replacing that legend. Lane Johnson, that will be seen because we're not there yet. Brian Dawkins. Now, that was pretty bad. That entire situation was pretty bad.
That was bad.
Who was the first safety that, took over?
Malcolm Jenkins. And that was a while.
Yeah, but it was
No, I'm
it
saying
wasn't
right
a-
after. I'm saying, again.
I thought you meant the first one that actually was of note.
Yeah, no, because we're.
It was only
again,
what? How long was the gap for Malcolm Jenkins? 2 years? 3 years?
So Malcolm Jenkins was on the 17 team. I think he got signed
So
in
it's only
15
what?
or 16.
3 years? I can't. I mean, whatever it was. It seems like there is a.
But that was one where they were not prepared for what's next.
no.
Like that one was one that they missed. But
And it was a self-inflicted wound.
correct. But for the most part,
That to me is what's unacceptable about it.
yeah, I agree with you. But for the most part, the Eagles have been prepared for when these star players left, either retirement or whatever else the situation was, like T.O. They were pretty good with the replacement. So I'm hoping the Eagles can continue to do that, especially because they are smart thinking years down the line. The Phillies are in a weird spot because you have a championship window right now, but they're also old. And that's why I understand people are hesitant to trade away any of the prospects.
Oh, I'm not.
They're in a tough spot right now, the
when
Phillies.
I know that Zach Wheeler, and I believe Zach Wheeler has done the Phillies a complete solid.
Yeah, by letting them know.
Letting them know I'm done. And I'm not coming off this. I'm done. That is one of the reasons I am not. I've seen enough of Mick Abel. He's going nowhere in my mind. I am hanging up the phone. I am not going to say, yeah, you can have Mick Abel. No, I want Mick Abel, and I'm hoping that everything that we've heard about other pitchers in the funnel are going to end up being good. But Mick Abel, I am not taking the call. That is going right to voicemail.
Oh, I'm taking the call.
Yeah, I'm taking the call, dude. I can't believe you're hanging up.
No, I am not taking. I am not ditching Mick Abel, especially now. The mystery sneeze now puts a guy in the 60-day DL. They literally laughed about it on the MLB Network. They literally laughed when they going yeah, that's what happened. It's such a joke. Like they don't care though. They're just gonna laugh at you. Like it's the mystery sneeze that puts you on the DL for 60 days.
Sure.
BS.
Yeah.
It's a bunch.
Well,
of
he's already been. How many days has he been out?
I think
I don't know,
2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Feels like more than that even.
Retro it. you know?
Well, yeah, they're retroing.
Yeah, they're
exactly.
retroing. But I mean, it's like it's enough.
Dude, I love your love for McAble. He's made
I'm not.
4 starts.
I understand, but I'm not. I've seen enough to say no. I'm not giving him away now when I know that we're losing Wheeler, and I know that Nola is a declining asset.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it, and I know that Luzardo's not locked down, and I know that Ranger's walking out the door.
Well, you got to.
What is your both of you? Give me your rotation in 2 years.
In 2 years?
Yeah.
So Wheeler's still here 2 years.
No,
or is he done?
no. In 2 years,
In
when
2
Wheeler's
years.
gone.
No, yeah. Wait.
Wheeler's gone.
Because this is year 1 of the.
So when Wheeler's gone, what is your
following
so
two
the year that
seasons
he's
from
gone.
now.
I said
Yeah.
when Wheeler's gone, what is
Yeah.
your rotation?
I don't know, man. Painter.
Okay, so wait a minute. You guys are going to give me crap about Abel, but you're going to count on Painter? You haven't seen anything out of Painter. What are you talking about? If you're
Okay.
going to give me crap about Abel,
Hang
No, but
on,
I'm
John.
just saying, like, I'm not. I don't. I'm giving you crap because you're saying
I'm
hang
saying
up the
no,
phone.
because we can't risk it with this rotation
That's
that
what I'm
they've
giving
got.
you crap
Yes,
for.
you
Hang up
can.
the phone on a guy
No,
that
you can't.
a lot of people thought
John,
was a bust 1
slow
year
down.
ago, and now all of a sudden he's made 4
Okay,
starts in
tell
Major
me
League
your
Baseball.
rotation in 2 years after Wheeler retires.
I don't know. Painter, like, you can make trades. Luzardo, we didn't even think about
Right,
6
right,
months ago.
exactly.
Is Luzardo here?
I don't know, John. Here's
Maybe,
the thing.
maybe not.
Okay, no, give me the people. Just give me three names.
You're trying to push us into an impossible task to make us not go after your first point, which is that Abel is hang up the phone.
No, it is. It's because why is it an impossible task? Why for an organization should with this kind of payroll? Look at the Eagles.
Then they'll pay
Look how the
somebody
Eagles
else.
are set. So you're going to go out and buy 3 guys, 4 guys?
They might buy.
Maybe.
They could buy one. They could trade for another.
You're not gonna be
Noah's
buying
still a
3 and
part
4
of it.
guys,
Luzardo
Connor,
is still a part of it. Painter, that's 5.
You're not buying 3 and 4 guys because the owner's already
Christopher
told you.
Sanchez, that's 6.
Sanchez is one guy. Is
Yeah.
Nola one of your guys?
Probably. Well, he's going to
Yeah,
be here.
He's going to be here.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Nola,
that's a good plan.
All right, Nola, Sanchez, Painter, will be here.
Okay, so you're counting
right?
on Painters. You're going to give me Painters.
Yes.
One of the,
I'm
we
not-
don't know who Painter
I'm
is.
not even saying hang up the phone on Painter. You're saying hang up the
No,
phone
but we
on
don't
Nick
even know.
Abel.
But we don't even know who Painter is.
If you're just going to say no to all of the guys we're going to put in the rotation in 2 years, why are we doing that?
No, Sanchez is fine. I'm totally fine with Sanchez being there. I love Sanchez.
Here's the thing. You're in a championship contention window with an aging team and maybe in your last run. You have a guy that has made 4 starts at the major league level.
Yep.
That was not your top pitching prospect when he came up.
He was not.
It was labeled a bust just a year ago.
Two
By
of those-
some people, yes.
2 of those
that
4
I don't
starts
trust.
were against the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Miami Marlins. The one he had against the Cubs, who was the top
did
offensive
not play
baseball,
well.
he gave up 3 bombs.
Yeah.
And you're hanging up the phone.
I am not giving him up. I am not giving him up. I am not doing that because this organization does not have enough starting pitching depth. They don't. Suarez is gone. We don't know what Luzardo is, even what he is long term with innings, and we don't know if he's even back. Like, are you going to commit to him? Are you going to sign him to a contract? Nola is a potential white elephant that you've got for 6 more seasons. I mean, it's a potential disaster. It is a potential. You always talk about, I do not want to go back. You say, I don't want to go back to the 10 years
Don't wanna do
of
that.
well, that is what it's more looking at more than the future's bright. Who are the bright young stars of this organization?
Painter, Miller,
No.
Crawford.
Miller's not a. You can't say Miller's a
Why
star.
can't I say
These are
Miller's
guys
a
that
star?
they are
Wait a minute,
projecting
wait a minute.
to be a big
If you're-
part of your team
okay,
moving forward.
if you're saying
I
to
can't
me-
even say Mick. Are you saying Mick
Okay.
Abel's a young
No,
star?
What I'm saying to you is that you're saying is like Abel, who people were saying is a bust last year.
Yes.
They weren't saying he was a bust the 2 years previous. Last year, people were saying Abel was a bust because he struggled. Now, the same thing could be applied to Miller this year because Miller is struggling big time this year. So Miller is being labeled as, is he? I'm not giving up on Miller, But I'm also not penciling him in as a future star.
But I'm not giving up on McAble. I'm just saying the hang up the phone.
No, but I'm saying to you is this
nuts.
organization doesn't have enough talent.
I am very glad you're not the president of baseball operations.
Well, I could have done better. I can tell you this: I could have done better moves than have been done.
I agree with you.
I wouldn't give
That may
7
be
years.
fair.
I wouldn't have given 7 years to Aaron Nola. I can promise you that.
This
you wouldn't
past
give
off
7 years to anybody.
This past off
No,
season,
not to a pitcher. I wouldn't have.
this
No.
past off season, you could have done no worse than Dave Dombrowski.
No.
I'll give you that.
No,
be fair.
No, I would have done better because I wouldn't have given 7 to Aaron Nola. Not 7.
McAble is Cy Young.
No, it's not. See, you can't. You got to have an argument, and you have to keep it to what
and
I'm
you've
saying.
got to hear yourself.
No, I never said anything of the sort. So you can't argue something and say stuff that
You
people
don't hear
say.
how you come across when you say hang up the phone
I can't give
on
it up
McAble.
because this organization, you're making it seem like the cupboards aren't bare. Gentlemen, be realistic. The cupboards for this organization are not stocked with young talent. And if you got guys that are potentially young talent, don't deal with it.
Potentially, McAble could be an expired can of tuna.
But he's one of the best things you've got in your cupboard. So you eat that first. I know Connor's eating strategy. Connor's going to that first. It's the least expired.
Leave my tuna preferences out of
Coming
this.
up next, we'll get to our text messages, but also,
The least expired. Connor's, I'll eat it.
at what point do ushers ignore the rules? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fan.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Got back just in time.
You seem like a new man.
Yeah.
Jump in your step.
Well, there was a bit of an issue.
Well, not like the other day.
No.
It wasn't good. We don't have to share that.
The lock on the stall jammed.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get stuck in there?
I'd like break my way out.
Really? Mission Impossible or something?
It's okay. I got out. Don't worry. I'm here.
Oh my
I'm back
gosh.
on the air. All right. What do we got in the text line, Connor, about anything that we've discussed about, whether it's the next chapter in Philadelphia sports? We have the Phillies Mets stock conversation. How much stock are you putting into this series? And, I'll ask the people, do other people think Mick Abel is a hang-up worthy
Yeah,
player?
would you be willing right now to deal? Are you dealing Mick Abel right now to bolster this team this year?
Yes, I
I think
am.
that's a fair way of questioning. Yes.
All right. Let's see what the people are saying on the text line, Connor.
We have something on that from Quinn, who says, John sounds like the typical dad right now who finds a random piece of wood and wants to keep it in the shed because he might need it one day or it might come in handy. That's how you're treating Mick Abel.
Can I tell you, my dad is that dad?
Every dad's
What,
that
he's got
dad.
that? No, I'm not.
No, not
Nah.
every dad is.
Nah.
And you know what?
You couldn't find it. You couldn't find it at our place.
I am becoming that dad,
Are you?
and I used something recently. So I, for Mother's Day, I got the hanging lights for Christy, and
What, string lights?
the string lights.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. And I did the mulching and everything before.
So where
she
do you
got
string the
home.
lights?
Around our
back?
like sort of back patio.
Oh, that's
area.
cool.
Yeah, it looks really nice. I did a damn good job. The problem was the last post to the outlet. I didn't want it to just flop down. I needed to have that one more loop.
Oh,
What can I use here?
what'd you do?
The rod that you would put like for over the window, like the curtain.
Right.
I had one of those, like a leftover piece where you would put the rod through,
Oh, really?
and I was able to drill that bad boy into the siding of the house.
Into your siding?
And it's black, so it matches the posts and it matches the cord.
You are.
So
That's
that-
full dad energy.
So those things actually do come to use sometimes.
See,
Best feeling
so
in the
maybe
world.
I'm being swayed on this Mick Abel discussion.
See, Landis Block put the indirect lighting into the back
Oh,
patio.
yeah, that's good work by
So the
them.
indirect lighting's there, and they say it lasts like 10 years.
Well, that'd be nice.
That's even better. Good job there.
All right, what else you got on the text line?
All right, so we have people checking in on this next generation discussion and whether or not teams have to take advantage of their windows. So Mike from Turnersville says the Eagles' window has to be now. Lane Johnson, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown all may have 2 peak seasons left, and replacing Hall of Famers isn't easy.
Oh, yeah, it's obviously not easy to replace a Hall of Famer, but, you don't
You don't
need to replace Hall of Famer with Hall of Famer,
The
right?
Eagles have so much youth that they have so much youth and so much flexibility that there's no question in my mind they can do it. I mean, I look at where the Phillies are at. It's completely
Yeah, the Phillies
it's a
are
completely
in
different
a weird
situation.
spot. The Eagles, and plus the Eagles, Jason Peters was an addition not via the draft,
A trade.
right? It was a
It was a
trade,
trade.
and they ended up, paying him. So that is still an option. Now they are right now.
That
in
rarely happens, by the way, that you trade for a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, but they've done it with Brandon Brooks. They've done it a couple times.
But the tackle position is a little bit different. But here's the deal: they've been very fortunate with how great Lane Johnson has continued to play and what Jordan Mailata has become.
Oh, it's incredible.
A first-round pick and a seventh-round pick.
Again,
Like,
those
that's-
are unicorn situations.
And that's why the Eagles' offensive
Right.
line is, one of the best in the NFL.
By the way, I want you guys to judge because CJ goes, I can't believe it. Priest Holmes, like Salciunas, huge Priest Holmes fan.
Yeah.
I have no argument. He's the best back of this century. He goes, give me your names. Well, one, I would say Adrian Peterson off the top of my head.
I don't know how he wasn't on the list.
I would say Edgerrin James would come off my lip. Edgerrin James would come off my lips before Priest Holmes. LaDainian Tomlinson would come off my lips before Priest Holmes. And Marshawn Lynch would come off my lips before Priest Holmes. So I told him, and he said, now this is a good, reasonable debate. He was coming at my throat about it, and then he's like, okay,
Yeah.
those are pretty good names. He goes, I'll call it a draw. Now, I disagree with him on a draw.
Right.
I think I gave him names that are better. But then again, that's the give and take. That's
Right,
cool.
absolutely.
But it's like, so he goes, okay, those are pretty good names. They're really good names. Adrian Peterson, to me, is the first name I thought of.
My only thing with the Priest Holmes thing,
Priest Holmes?
I
Are you
loved him.
kidding me?
And he was all pro 3 straight years, but then after that, it was it. Like, he was done.
Priest Holmes was a was a 5-hour energy.
For 3 years.
It was great. No, it was a
3-year
5-hour
energy.
energy. He got the. It was a short time.
Yeah.
And he was spectacular.
Right, he was tremendous. Like,
And awesome.
Like a name that wasn't on that list that I'm actually kind of surprised not on the list.
Who?
Curtis Martin.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you that I'll argue that LaShawn McCoy could be argued ahead of Priest Holmes. And I don't even know how the numbers match up. LaShawn McCoy had a longer period of relevancy than Priest Holmes.
Yeah, their running back list was weird. I think
That was the weirdest
Yeah, but I don't
one.
understand. But how does that work with a consensus list?
How did
that happen?
used DAR, whatever.
Well, there you go.
one of
See,
these
that's
analytic
just
things.
nonsense.
All right, this Usher thing, real quick. So the other day on post-show headlines, I told John a story. I took Coop to the Phillies game. It was the Wednesday day game against the Cubbies, right? Cubs?
Right.
Yeah. And there was an Usher who...
Not Usher.
No, not Usher.
Yes.
But there was an Usher who saw me, Christy, and Coop, and we were doing standing room because the seats that we had, it was too hot for the little one, right? And so I had him sitting on like the bar area where the standing room section is.
Yeah.
And the Usher complimented Coop on how cute he was.
Right.
So there had been a conversation. 2 innings later, the Usher said, hey, he can't be sitting there. And I was like, well,
wait a minute.
For 2 innings, we have interacted, and you have had no problem with him sitting there. And then all of a sudden, you have a problem. So maybe
I think
somebody,
their boss came through.
Maybe that happened.
And said, hey, got to get that kid off there. Pay attention.
Maybe that's what it was.
That would be my guess.
So my question is, at what point do ushers ignore the rules a little bit? Because I imagine that was a rule. Did you see what happened yesterday in Wrigley?
No.
Cubs and Brewers.
Okay.
I forget who the batter was for Milwaukee. Bat slipped out of his hand and got lodged in the protective netting. The Cubs fan that was sitting behind home plate, Spider-Man, climbed up the netting.
Oh, that's sick.
And pulled the bat out.
Okay, how high did the guy go up?
Pretty high.
Really?
He let's say he's 6 feet tall. I would imagine he had to climb an extra 6 feet.
Okay.
So he's 12 feet in the air or whatever.
Did he get ejected?
He got escorted out.
Did he get the bat?
Now, they did, like an inning or two later, let him go back to his seat. Maybe they just had a talking to him or something.
Okay, sure.
But it looked like he got ejected.
Okay, in the instant?
He was able to keep the bat, and the player who let go of it actually signed it after the game, which is actually pretty cool. But
in the instant, the bat, the thing is they can't have fans doing that.
Yeah.
So I understand.
know,
So
but
they had to do something, but the thing is they let him get back to his seat, which is great. Did he immediately just go up, like the minute he saw it up there, did he just go bolt right up?
It was right above
and
him.
he bolted right
and
up.
he was like, let me go let me get this.
You know what? That's just an instantaneous
Right, exactly. He was like,
decision.
I got this. Don't worry. Before, let's stop the game.
That's an instant.
Have a guy come out
I think
on a ladder.
that's an instant, and that's good on the Cubs that they let
I'm glad that they let him go
Right.
back, but their first thought
But they
was,
had to.
we got to get this
but they
guy.
had to.
Because it's dumb people's fault. Because somebody who's not capable of doing that will see that and try
You're
that.
right.
Can you sit
and
at
then they
Citizens
get
Bank
hurt.
Park? Can you see that? Somebody
I'll get up
climbing
there.
up?
I'll climb on
I
up.
could see Connor saying,
Connor said, I could beat anybody up there.
I'll show you the
top.
video
I'm a good
during the
climber.
commercial break. All right, coming up next, we'll get back to our topics. We'll check our text line. I learned something new this morning
You did?
about life. I'll tell you guys about.
Really?
Also, NBA Finals. We got a Game 7. We lived the nightmare that Thunder fans dealt with last night. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A series win in Miami. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took down the Marlins 2-1 in a pitcher's duel last night. They took the series win in Miami. They won 3 of 4. Christopher Sanchez, 8 innings, 1 earned. A great start out of him, and Kyle Schwarber hit the go-ahead home run in the top of the 8th inning. So the Phillies are on a roll. The Mets are not. They lost again last night, and now there's a tie atop the NL East. It just so happens. Let me check the schedule. Oh, yeah, the Phils match up with the Mets tonight at Citizens Bank Park. It's a major series for both teams. Game 1 is at 7:15 p.m. Zach Wheeler on the mound facing off against Blade Tidwell. The NBA draft begins on Wednesday. We had a lot of reaction yesterday to Ace Bailey canceling his workout with the Sixers. Keith Pompey of the Inquirer joined the Mike Missanelli show, shared his thoughts on the Ace Bailey situation.
They want him to go somewhere where he can become a superstar and be the man. So it's crazy, but it's not the first time that someone declined to work out for a team because they felt that the other team would have been a better fit for him.
Not only is the NBA draft coming up this week, the NHL draft as well. So a lot of big news for the Sixers and Flyers coming your way. And last night, the Pacers took down the Thunder 108-91 to force a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Game 7, Sunday at 8 p.m. You don't want to miss it. You can hear it live here on The Fanatic. We're going to talk to Tim Kelly of On Pattison at 8:55 for your latest on the Phils. This update's brought to you by Moyer Indoor Outdoor Services. Follow Andrew Salciunas' lead and get a jump on a lush green lawn this spring right now. Go to eMoyer.com for free estimates. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the NBA Finals in Philadelphia, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Sports.
I learned something this
What did
morning.
you learn?
It's about
I
time.
had no idea.
That they don't clear the parking lot of debris.
Yeah, it's still out there.
Man, it's out there.
Happened late.
Happened like 5.
Yeah, it's late. That's end of business. Did you know? And Connor, I could see you being somebody that if you didn't know it, you would try. Do you know that after 90 days, if somebody's luggage is not claimed at the airport,
can get it.
Yes, you can go buy it.
I had no idea.
That's been forever.
Would you do that?
No, I'm not buying other people's stuff.
Unclaimed luggage has been a thing forever.
I had no idea.
Do you know that's what they like? It's like, have you never watched the? Lib watched it at one time. You can, if somebody doesn't pay their bill on their
Storage containers.
storage containers,
wars.
if someone doesn't
storage,
pay,
yeah, I know
it
storage
goes,
wars.
you
Yeah.
bought it. Depending on the state, 90 to 120 days.
Okay.
I can have your stuff. If you don't claim it and you don't pay it,
Yeah.
depending on the state, you can go 3 months or 4 months, and then they can say you don't get to look at what's in there,
Yeah.
but you can buy the.
Well, and that's the
Yeah,
thing.
no,
So
I don't want other people's
So
stuff.
here's the deal. So I looked.
you
this
don't
up.
want other people's stuff.
No, I got enough stuff.
I looked this up because I was curious. So you can. There's actually stores where somebody that's a store owner will go and buy the luggage, and then they'll open it, and then
Right.
they'll resell for a huge discount the clothing that was inside the
What's in it?
suitcases. Right, like I saw 50 to 80%
I know
off.
people
right?
who've done this.
So I'll ask you: would you ever go to that store? Because you might find a good find. You go, oh wow, that's a nice piece of clothing.
bought-
That's usually $200. I'm buying it for $100.
Nope.
Wow, I've goodwilled in my life.
Oh yeah, I have.
I've goodwilled.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Same thing.
Same
There is
thing.
none.
And it's better. It's most likely better than goodwill,
Yeah,
or better than that, because you're getting it out of somebody's suitcase.
and somebody's traveling.
that somebody's traveling, so it's clean,
and they probably want to dress nice.
and they're probably dressing nice. So absolutely,
Nah.
if you would ever buy clothes in any kind of secondhand or thrift,
yes.
why wouldn't you do it? Because these clothes are going to be arguably in much better condition, and you never know what else you'll find in
So
there.
that's the other thing. I'll ask you, Connor, because you're so anti, which I'm amazed that
There
you
are
are
very
so
few
anti.
things I would ever buy used.
Would
Yeah,
you, if you had to pick, would you go to the store and look, or would you do the mystery box and just buy the suitcase and see what's in it?
Store and look. Because there are a few items that like may be owned by someone else before that wouldn't bother me, but like clothes, shoes, any of that stuff, I don't want it if you've had it.
Here's one. Here's one of my old coworkers.
We got an immediate response.
From back in SMS.
All right, can people chime in? 610-632-0975.
We're
Would
a little
you-
all over the
would
place
you
today, but
do-
this
Would
is
you
fun.
do this?
Okay, this is one of my old coworkers. Sends me a text. He says, I hear Chunas talking about this. I found it really interesting. And he goes, and yes, my wife did it. She paid $115, figuring that the suitcase itself was probably worth around $100.
Oh, wait, so she did the mystery box.
She did the mystery
Oh,
suitcase.
that's awesome.
Figuring that the suitcase itself, she looked online. She said, what's the suitcase
That's actually
cost
really
before doing
smart.
it? Looked at it, thought it, and it was a bulky suitcase.
Yeah.
So it could only be checked.
Right.
Okay. Opened it up. She opens it up. There was a $350 women's hair dryer in it.
See?
There were 2 pairs of Louis Vuitton.
Louis
Not
Vuitton.
not Louis
Oh.
Vuitton. Haley may know this. Louis Vuitton shoes or Baton?
Louboutin.
Louboutin.
Oh,
Red bottoms. Come on, boys.
Louboutin shoes. 2 pairs of those.
Oh my God, those are $845.
Yeah,
She
they're
said-
expensive
no,
shoes.
It says
Oh
that-
my
that
God.
says those shoes. Now her best friend bought them off of her at a discount
Okay.
because they weren't her shoe size. There were 2 silk sweaters. It was
God.
unbelievable what she found.
And you wouldn't do this, Connor.
And it was the value of the stuff. If you just went the stuff that they were willing to keep, all private garments and everything were thrown out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Was probably
I don't need to wear anybody else's drawers.
Was probably valued at over $2,000.
Dude.
Easily.
I had a buddy that when we flew back from our Florida golf trip, he packed king crab legs in his suitcase, and it was that and a couple golf polos.
Well, no,
You could buy that suitcase.
Wait, he did
Yeah,
what?
long story.
That's disgusting.
I know it
disgusting.
is. That's why I'm not buying the random people's suitcases because
you
people
could-
are disgusting.
I would imagine if somebody put
I love
king
my guy
crab
Sean, though.
legs in the suitcase, you would smell it.
I have no sense of smell.
Yeah, but
I'll
you
go
don't. Well, I
with you.
would.
I
Now,
will
it says-
go with
now
you.
the thing was, here's more information. There were around 45 suitcases that were up, and there were only like 11 people there. So
I might need to do this one.
they were like, I'd be willing to do this too.
You guys want to do
They're
this on the air one day? We'll go to Philadelphia International.
No, we'll do it. I would love to do this
and we'll do an
be part of
unboxing.
it.
That's the new trend online, right? Unboxing. Like
My
the
wife
cards
would.
and
My wife
everything.
would kill me. She'd be like, "Come on, are you serious? You're gonna waste money on this?
Oh, dude, that'd
this
be
is
awesome."
No. He said the hairdryer and the shoes were over $2,000.
I'd also feel bad.
Why?
They
I
didn't
don't
want
know.
it. They unclaimed it.
We
They
don't
did.
know
They
they didn't
unclaimed
want
it.
it.
Look, Connor,
What
if
if
you
they
lose,
lost it?
Connor, if you lose your suitcase, and then you have 3 months to claim
Yeah,
it.
that's on you, bro.
That's on you.
Maybe they
and
lost.
obviously,
Maybe life got busy.
And obviously, you have enough money
There
that
you
they
go.
didn't care.
Screw this.
By the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
by the way, the suitcase was the suitcase itself is fantastic, and we still use it today.
I need people to chime in on this
That
if-
have done that.
if they've done it or if they're willing to do it. Connor's
I would,
anti.
I would absolutely consider it.
I
But
would
I'd
do it for a
I'd
show
have to
bit.
look at the suitcase though.
Okay.
Like the suitcase would be a big thing. If it's one of like Connor's dudes that's coming off of a
With king
a golf,
crab
no,
legs.
I'd be able to tell the person who carries king crab legs. I'd be able to look at their suitcase and tell. Like I'd be able to look at this. This is a.
I'm a duffel bag, man.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, no, I'm not
You
buying
would
it.
be
I'm
the
not
duffel
buying it.
guy.
I'm not buying a duffel bag.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, give us a text message on any of the Phillies, Mets, or anything that we've talked about. And then I want to get into the NBA Finals, Game 7, because Thunder fans lived out something that we had to deal with a couple of years ago. What do we got?
All right, so check in here on Phil's Mets, and this texter says if Phillies come out this weekend and get swept or lose 2 out of 3 because of our bullpen blowing it each night or bad fielding, we riot. Hopefully they come out and play their best baseball, no mental little league errors.
Or if they just look like they don't have fight, because that's what happened the last time they played this Mets team when they got swept. It wasn't just that they got swept; they had no life in that series.
No, it was lame. The last game they lost was the walk-off Mets win.
Yeah.
In extra innings. But overall, it was
If
just
they
not.
come out this series and they're lacking life or fight, like we got a problem. And I wonder how that could also carry over for the team, not just the fan base.
Well, look, I don't think you worry about that. Because, again, I told you, May 29th, you were up 3.5 games. June 9th, you were down 5.5 games. June 20th, you woke back up tied for first. So I'm not going to don't worry about it. Well, I wonder if it's going to affect them because it's obvious you're with very flawed team you're competing with. Too.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that one.
Okay. All right. So last night, Game 6 in Indiana, the Pacers force a Game 7. I'm amazed at this series.
Did you see their
going
fans,
7.
too? They didn't. Their entire stadium stood
Oh, yeah.
the entire game. They didn't sit. The fans stood.
That's why I
for
hate
4
this
quarters.
small market nonsense. Like, that market cares, man. And if it's good basketball, it's good basketball.
That would
it's
never.
It's a
that
Game
would never
7.
Never happen here.
It's
I don't
That
know.
would never.
Do it
No
this-
way.
come on.
No way. No way in the world would I see everybody standing for 4 quarters.
Game
For a
6 of the
Sixers
NBA
game?
Finals?
Yeah, dude, I disagree.
They stood for every game. They stand for the
All right.
game. They stand
This-
like it's Hoosiers.
Dude, this team has not gone out of the second round 20
No, I
plus
remem-
years.
no, I remember- no, I remember
I bet
I
you
me-
people would stand.
I saw the Iverson run.
I'm talking about now. After 20 years, after a process, after all that kind of stuff, I bet
Yeah.
you people would stand. Anyways, what the Thunder fans dealt with last night was what we dealt with Game 7, Sixers Celtics. The Thunder did not play last night.
They didn't show up.
I saw Windy after the game said that the Thunder weren't emotionally able to win Game 6 on the road. How does that happen?
Young, one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Not ready for that stage. That building last night
It was
was
rocking.
it was spectacular.
Yeah, this series has been great.
And I think that there is a mental immaturity to that team. They're young. They're young. They're sky high. Then they're nervous. Then they'll be ready for Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. Yeah.
Like this is the same way they played in Game 6 at Denver.
right.
They'll be ready for Sunday.
I don't understand how you can allow that to happen. Now, look, we literally dealt with it a few years ago when the Sixers and Celtics, that when they blew Game 6 and then Game 7, they just
Well, at Game
didn't
7,
show up.
wait a minute. If at Game 7 you don't show up,
it's even worse. I know.
but this is a Game 6. They
Yeah,
are
but still
already up.
bad.
They're up 3-2, and they're on the road. And they were like, Okay, and this
We're talking
started
about no life. This
and
game,
this started to
I
go
turned the
bad.
game off yesterday.
I went to bed.
It was over. There was
Hey, they took one for the good of the league.
It was one of those games where I go, I don't need to stay up for this.
I went to bed.
Yeah, I
was
get
like,
up
can't
too
watch
early.
it. And I had the dread moment of wondering.
What if the
'cause
Thunder come back?
Immediately, I went to the phone this morning. I don't ever usually just pick up the phone right after waking up.
You wanted to see what
I
happened,
wanted to
yeah.
make sure, and I was going to say, see,
I don't understand how a team can just not show up to a elimination game.
I think it was in the head. I think it was they got off to the good start. They even had the lead a little bit early, and then they just got smoked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as,
And
as
then
a
it was
Sixers
like,
fan, how could we fathom a team not showing up to an elimination game?
Well,
It's
seen that one.
Come on.
I just
Seen that one.
come on. Sixers
But what the
are
bad thought
my
was with the
nightmare.
Sixers is the Sixers, putzed out in Game 6 and Game 7.
Well, yeah.
And at Game 6 at home, they literally wouldn't even take shots.
They sure did.
Embiid didn't demand the ball. Harden did his mystery man routine.
But go get Ace Bailey and
But
everything
people
changes.
think Harden's going to show up next year. Next year it'll be, this is James' year. He's going to do it this year.
I don't think anyone's saying that anymore,
No,
John.
I'm glad.
I don't think anybody.
I'm glad. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party.
I don't think anyone's saying that. Still the best point guard Joel Embiid's ever played with.
Regular season, he's a dud. He's a stud, man.
Yes, he is. Best point guard Joel Embiid's ever played with.
In the regular season,
That's
he's
still
good,
that's
man.
still the truth. All right, coming up next, we have today's headlines with Mr. Connor Thomas here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. We. Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. So a couple of members of the Fanatic have chimed in about the luggage,
Okay.
the buying unclaimed luggage.
Like, would people do it, you mean, or?
So Ray Dunn has chimed in. He said he'd buy one in a second.
Really?
And
How high would you go, though?
well, what's the normal price of the suitcases?
She paid $115,
Yeah, $115. You're getting the suitcase and all the stuff inside?
and she got a $350 hairdryer. What is a $350 hairdryer?
Oh, dude, they're insane. Trust me. Christy got like a really nice one from her mom for Christmas one year.
How much? Like $350?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was at
What
least
does it do?
two bills.
Like, what does it
Dude,
do?
these I
I think it
don't
dries
know.
your hair.
I understand, Connor.
They're,
but
like
I mean-
she got one where it's not the air dryer. It's one that you literally tie your hair in it and it dries it. Like
Oh,
it's-
really?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like a curler?
Yeah, but it's not a curler.
Ooh,
Okay.
fancy.
It's
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it was whatever. It's something that I don't ever have to worry about in my
It,
life.
it is a bidding process, by the way, though. Like, people come and you'll bid on it.
All right, would you bid when you don't know what's inside? Like,
Yeah,
I
you
wouldn't-
don't know what's inside, so you
Then
have to
what's
bid
the
on
point
it.
of bidding?
Well, that's the whole deal. That's the whole
idea.
process.
Are you out on this now too?
No,
You don't
I
get
would
to
do
see.
it.
You don't get to see the inside.
But I'm not $200.
No, you have to. That's how it works.
All right, then I would cut it off at one. What was it? 115.
115. She bought one
115 is
for.
my cutoff.
I'd go up to like 150. I'd go there and say, okay. Buy
Now
one.
the key is knowing the price of the suitcase, because if it's worth it, just that, and then even if you just get white T-shirts and like basketball shorts, you're still
See, I'm
saving
not
money.
wearing anybody's white T-shirts or basketball. Outside shorts, I wear. I'm not wearing any kind of like draws.
No,
undershorts.
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
Basketball
undershirts.
shorts are-
Yeah, but
who
undershirts.
calls basketball shorts boxers?
But undershirts are draws too. I'm not wearing that. I'm not wearing something that's your armpit hairs on it. No,
now,
sorry, not
now
doing that.
Haley chimes in.
Okay.
Haley says Connor won't wear somebody's other clothes, or sorry, says he won't wear other people's clothes, but will eat expired food.
It's my food. No, you know this. If somebody touches food on my plate, I won't
I know,
eat it.
but you will eat expired food.
It's mine. I know where
Literally-
it is.
Literally risking your health.
Like, you'll come in the morning and there'll be food that's left out from the night before and you'll eat it.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is crazy.
But you won't wear a shirt that somebody else wore before. So you're not
No,
a thrift
that's
guy.
nasty.
okay, but
at
you can
all.
wear a
No,
shirt
not
that
really.
someone else wore as long as you've laundered it.
Yeah.
As long as you've
Yeah, you're
laundered it, it's
cleaning
fine.
You're cleaning it.
I don't know what's been on it.
But not undergarments.
Not under.
Not
yeah,
undershirts.
That, yes. That
Undershirts, underwear, socks. No,
That
thank
one
you.
I agree. All right,
No.
it's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Brought to us by who?
Of course, our friends over at Lundy Law for over 70 years. Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. I know we already talked a little bit about the NBA Finals, but we got to talk about our guy. TJ McConnell had a great game last night. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. He got the post-game interview, and it wasn't just TJ. Mr. McConnell, his dad made an appearance, and it was exactly how you'd expect TJ McConnell's dad's statement on his game to go. Take a listen.
What's the distance you need between you and your dad to yell at him for not being taller or not marrying somebody that was taller?
I mean, I know he's standing right there, but
My man, come on in here. Doesn't matter how tall you are.
What do you think of his performance tonight?
Excellent. Just disappointing, missed 2 foul shots in the beginning. I kept saying, man, I wish you'd have made those 2 foul shots.
He's just such everybody's dad.
That's great dad right there.
She would've made the foul shots.
The love he has for his son,
Yeah.
you can see it from across the room.
And that's such a dad thing too. Can't miss your foul shots. My dad.
He's in the NBA Finals.
I can still hear my dad saying it when I was like 8. Can't miss your foul shots.
He had 12, 9,
Can't
and
miss the free
6
throw.
in an elimination game to force a game 7. His dad's like, I wish you wouldn't have missed those 2 free throws.
That's awesome.
You love to see it. Something you don't love to see is former NFL running backs who did not make the all-quarter century team getting in fist fights over poker games. Adrian Peterson was at a poker game down in Houston, and video surfaced yesterday of him in some fisticuffs with another guy playing at the table. I think the other guy got the better of AP.
I
too.
think so too.
He did.
I do. Yeah, the other guy did get the
Well,
better.
this time it wasn't a child, and Adrian Peterson didn't have a big stick.
Yeah.
So Adrian Peterson didn't win the fight.
Adrian Peterson, we were talking about this before the show today. He's one of these guys that, like, I would love to talk about how great of a football player he is. Obviously, what happened with him and his child puts a major stain on his legacy. And now all of a sudden, this, like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
Yeah, he's
over a hand in poker?
he's a weird cat, man.
Over a hand in poker.
I
Like,
mean, honestly, you're getting into, like, what are you, a child?
yeah, I guess. I don't know. We don't know what was said or what led to
No,
it.
they're saying disrespected.
What I
Somebody
read was it was over the hand, which you lost. That's gambling, brother. Like
Yeah.
that you lost. What are you gonna do? Fight?
But, like, honestly, the worst bet made that actually paid off was this dude choosing to fight Adrian Peterson. And, like, I would have never
Well, he didn't
stepped
choose
in.
to fight
Well,
Adrian Peterson. AP
dude-
got in his face.
Yeah, but you could have backed out of that. Listen, if AP's in my face, I'm not
I
fighting
do
that dude.
believe the guy swung first before.
Yeah, I
AP.
think he did.
Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. This is an all-pro running back. I don't care if he's retired. I'm not throwing hands with
He
him.
has a story for the rest of his life that he got
went
the
toe
better.
to- he went toe
and he
to
got-
toe.
He wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
And he got the better of him.
So AP doesn't have hands. Conversation
Man.
being had by a lot of people. Conversation being had by us earlier on in the show was about eras and one coming to an end here in Philadelphia.
We could be nearing the end of certain chapters in Philadelphia sports.
I guess for like two teams, the Sixers and the Phillies, but the Eagles are as set as any team can possibly be.
Yeah, no, a lot of the errors, it's individual.
It can
errors,
be
right? Like
individual,
Lane
too.
Johnson is.
I don't think we're
toward the
anywhere
end.
close, dude.
Sixers is an individual, though.
I think you guys think we're a lot closer to Lane Johnson hanging it up than he actually is.
I think it'll be 2 more years.
If he's saying, like, I'm just hitting my peak,
Yeah.
and he said before
Yeah, but-
on mic on a podcast, as long as they keep cutting the check, I will keep playing.
But didn't he also say recently, like he himself said 2 more years recently?
He
I
said
think you're thinking
something
Zach
of the-
Wheeler.
No, he did say that that's when he's going to evaluate.
Yeah.
He's going to evaluate. 2 more years, he's going to evaluate where he's going. So
Yeah, but if I know anything about reevaluations in this town when it comes to our sports teams, it's not going to change anything. You just get the same news 3 weeks later.
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
like
I don't know. I think we're in a fine spot when it comes to like the eras. The Phillies are in the biggest trouble with that because there's just
Sixers
so
are in the biggest trouble.
well, no, less
but you know
less
what?
roster
in,
size.
in the NBA, yeah, if you get one guy, who knows how
How are they
that
going to
cha-
get that one guy
I don't know, man.
with the contracts that they have? How they get
If
the
it
one
blows
guy?
up again, they have another top pick. You never know.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Neil on YouTube.
What's up, Neil?
Great hair dryer knowledge. It's called an air wrap.
An air wrap.
Yeah, that's the one where
Never
it's
heard
not
of
the
it.
actual the
A $350
dryer.
hair dryer?
Yeah,
That's
dude,
incredible.
I searched air wrap, 550 bills.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like
from
that's
oh no,
that doesn't-
$5.99.
That doesn't even seem real.
Yeah, to dry your hair. You know what I use? A towel. It
I
works.
use, you know what I use? Air. It's free. It's free.
Not the gas station.
It's amazing. Well, that would work too, though.
There we go.
All right, coming up next. So earlier in the show, we went through the ESPN all-quarter century team. What about today's NFL? Our buddy Pete Prisco put together his top 100 players going into 2025. Where do some of our Eagles rank? We'll go through that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Another win for the Phils. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies beat the Marlins 2-1 last night. Kyle Schwarber, the go-ahead home run in the 8th inning to put the Phillies on top, and they were able to win 2-1 because Christopher Sanchez went 8 innings with 1 earned. Ranger. Ryan Kirkering gets the save in the game. The Phillies have been on a bit of a roll recently. They've won 3 straight series, and, well, the Mets have been struggling. So now there's a tie atop the NL East. It'd be really cool if the Phils played the Mets this weekend. Oh, wait, they do. 7:15 p.m. Game 1 tonight at Citizens Bank Park. Zach Wheeler against Blade Tidwell at the start of what is a momentous series for both teams. The NBA draft begins on Wednesday, and we had a lot of reaction yesterday to news that Ace Bailey canceled his workout with the Sixers. Keith Pompey of The Inquirer joined the Mike Missanelli show yesterday to talk about it.
They want him to go somewhere where he can become a superstar and be the man. So it's crazy, but it's not the first time that someone declined to work out for a team because they felt that the other team would have been a better fit for him.
The NBA draft begins this coming week, and so does the NHL draft. So a lot of news coming your way for Sixers and Flyers fans. Last night, speaking of NBA news, the Pacers took down the Thunder 108-91 to force Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Game 7 Sunday at 8 p.m. Tim Kelly of Von Pattison joins us coming up at 8:55 for the latest on the Phils. This update's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the NBA Finals in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Obviously, we have the deal of the week still going on. Jump on it. If you're going to Ocean City,
jump on it.
Either as a vacation, day trip, you name it, especially with the hot weather coming. Check out the Fanatic deal of the week. Get 2 Ocean City Water Park and Adventure Golf tickets for the price of 1. Beat the heat and splash into fun in Ocean City, New Jersey this summer with thrilling slides, a lazy river, and an exciting mini golf course. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. The mini golf into water park day. That's a hell of a day.
That sounds like a great deal.
So make sure you check that out. Deal of the week. Also, June 27th, 1 week from today, Johnny.
By the way, and that's a Flyers draft night. It'll be fun.
Yes, at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City.
Looking
Tickets
forward
are
to it.
$6 per person to commemorate the Flyers selecting 6th overall. Proceeds benefit the Flyers charities. Complimentary food voucher, including access to raffles and giveaways. There will be special guests like John Kincade, Flyers Governor Dan Hilferty, Flyers head coach Rick Tocchet, Mark Recchi, Todd Fedoruk, and more. Go to the events page, 97.5thefanatic.com.
By the way, just to say, telling you how different organizations do things differently. Mm-hmm. The Braves needed a spot start for tonight's game, and they're bringing up 20-year-old Didier Fuentes, 10th prospect in their system.
For a spot start, yeah.
Yeah, bringing him up. He's 0-7 this year with a 4.81 ERA across 3 levels.
Sounds like he's ready.
And they're bringing him up as the top. He's the 10th prospect in the system.
He's 20 years old.
20 years old, and they're having him start a game.
Here's
and Alex Anthopoulos is like, I don't care about the 0-7 record.
Yeah.
And we've seen him pitch. We like his stuff. Let's give him a taste.
He's going to throw 6 shutout innings. They'll sign him to a 6-year contract for $20 million.
Give him a taste. But in other words, it's like we don't have to wait till these guys are 23, 24. We can give a taste.
Yeah.
See what they got.
Yeah, but that's a different situation than like a Justin Crawford. You can't really spot start a center fielder.
No, I got, but we don't even with our pitchers. We want them to have, at least get engaged or at least have kids.
They did it with Mick Abel.
When I have kids, come on, bring them up. That's what we like with Mick.
Your boy Mick Abel, who you're hanging up the phone if anybody asks about him.
I'm glad to see Mick. I'm going to get to see Mick tomorrow night.
Yes,
I'm excited about that. I hope he's doing a good job.
Hang up the phone.
I'm hanging up the phone.
Prospect. All right, so Pete Prisco did his top 100 players in the NFL. We're obviously not going to go through all 100. I'll give you the top 10, and I'll tell you where some of the Eagles stand because Jeff Kerr, bless you, Jeff Kerr, he put together an article of just where the Eagles are at, so I don't have to scroll. All right?
Well,
I'm all about making my life easier.
Jeff tries to do that.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, so numero uno, Patrick Mahomes on top of the list. No, I have no problem with that. Number 2, back-to-back years, by the way, Mahomes number 1. Back-to-back years, Myles Garrett is at number 2 on this list. Coming in at number 3, last year not even ranked. Saquon Barkley climbs from an unranked player to number 3. I don't know how he was unranked last year.
Okay. That's a big jump. I got to hear 4, 5, 6, and
I mean, but again, so in 2023, his last year with the Giants,
he was unranked.
He was
okay, go on. But let me hear like who did he jump? Like the players he jumped.
Well, he jumped at least 97 people.
No, but I mean, I need to hear some of the other names.
Number 4 is Josh Allen. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. 6, Lamar Jackson. 7, Joe Burrow. 8, Jamar Chase. 9, Patrick Surtain. And 10, Micah Parsons.
That's bold. That's really bold.
I think it was more bold the fact that he wasn't ranked last year.
No, that's very, very bold. But
you mean to tell me he wasn't 99th last year?
None of us called it out. I don't remember us calling it out last year.
I didn't look at the list.
Okay.
Yeah, and we probably weren't too zoned in on Saquon.
Yeah. I didn't look at this list. What I'm saying is I can't believe that he was not ranked last year.
I believe we did look at the list. The way you look at lists, you probably looked at it. We probably were like,
Well, probably looked at the Eagles going into
Look at Saquon. We were very, very thrilled to have Saquon. Saquon's reputation in the NFL completely changed last year.
Yeah.
It completely
Nobody expected
changed.
to see what we saw.
No, nobody expected
But
that.
he wasn't one of the top 100 players in the NFL last year.
Shocked.
I thought that was crazy. So the Eagles, we have Saquon Barkley at number 3. The Eagles had the most players within the top 100 list with 10 of them. Thank you again to Jeff Kerr for doing all this. So here are where some of the Eagles ranked. Saquon, as we know, came in at number 3. Lane Johnson comes in at number 12. And right behind them on the other side of the line, Jordan Mailata.
Comes in where?
The 13th best player in the NFL.
Wait a minute.
13?
Yep.
No.
I don't know if I could see
No.
13. I'm happy for him.
I'm happy for him.
But
yeah.
13, that's high.
He's
man.
that good.
No.
13?
No, that's way too high.
Jeff Kerr did a little write-up for it saying...
What did Jeff say about it?
One of the best left tackles in the NFL. Mailata allowed just 1 sack and 11 pressures and 383 pass blocking snaps. A pressure rate allowed per dropback of just 2.9%. That's 6th among tackles in the league and 4th among left tackles.
So wait a minute. So it's 6th among tackles.
Yeah, and he's 13th. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, he's outstanding.
And there's only,
but he's not.
And Lane Johnson, by the way, is the only tackle ahead of him. So it's not like there's 5 other tackles.
He's not Jason Peters at Jason Peters' height.
Good for Jordan Mailata. 13th
Jordan's
is crazy.
fantastic, but come on.
That's
a lot.
Jalen Carter.
Where's Jalen Carter come in?
17th.
Oh, my gosh.
That's high praise.
That is great praise.
Now, this is why I hate Pro Football Focus. Remember, they had him as 17th best player under the age of 25. And then Pete Prisco has him as the 17th best player in the entire National Football League. I side more with Pete Prisco on that debate than whatever Pro Football Focus was throwing our way.
I got to tell you, I'd put Jalen Carter ahead of Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, I agree. Jordan Mailata, with all due respect,
and Jordan Mailata would be up there.
13's way too high.
13's way too high, and Jordan Mailata, I would put behind. If you're talking players in the NFL,
yeah.
I believe if there was a draft, Jalen Carter would be drafted. If teams were drafting players, would be drafted.
Just for an idea, the players that are around them on that list. So Lane Johnson 12, Mailata 13, Derrick Henry was 14th, Aiden Hutchinson was 15th.
Yes.
Creed Humphrey of a center being the 16th best player in the NFL is insane to me.
That's insane.
Jalen Carter 17, Chris Jones 18, Fred Warner 19, Tristan Wirfs 20. So good, very good players.
Remember last summer? Do you remember how much we talked about it? And all last summer, I think it was even bolder than the prediction that you guys would be working on NFC Championship game. I said it all last summer, and I say it again. You couldn't walk around the streets in any NFL city and say to me, name 5 centers.
Oh, yeah.
Name 5 centers in the NFL. You couldn't do it.
Yeah, putting him in
and it's like everybody was like, oh, my God, Jason Kelsey's retiring. We thankfully had a really good one to replace him.
Yeah.
But center in the NFL is not what the end-all be-all.
Yeah, gotcha. A.J. Brown on this list at 31. Zach Bond on this list at 40. Great season last year. We'll see if he can follow it up.
That seems a little high to me.
Yeah,
seems a little high to me.
Considering he had one
tremendous, one great year,
tremendous season. Putting him already as the 40th best player in the NFL is kind of crazy.
Well, it's right now, and he was the Defensive Player of the Year nominee.
That's true. Now, I will say Pete Prisco did say in his initial write-up, he doesn't believe there's as much star power in the NFL today than there may have been 10, 15 years ago. Obviously, you have your stars in the top 10, but to your point, Creed Humphrey is not a star, and he's 16.
I'm going to tell you, I think there may be more depth as far as top. There may be more depth along lines of scrimmage, though, than there were 15, 20 years ago.
Could be.
But star quality, other things.
Well, think about it, how
they've devalued running back.
Exactly. So we went through the all quarter century team. Like, we could have come up with 10 more running backs that could have made that team. It's different nowadays. And so
Correct.
That's why. And so maybe
because they've devalued it.
Right, exactly. Jalen Hurts comes in at 52 on this list. Now, Pete Prisco is not a Jalen Hurts guy, as we know. We've had him on to talk about it. I don't know how many quarterbacks he has in front. I have not taken the time to really look that up. But he has Hurts at 52. Quinyon Mitchell comes in at 69. Landon Dickerson comes in at 72.
Okay, that's good.
And Cooper DeJean comes in at 85. So 10 players from the Philadelphia Eagles inside the top 100.
Q over Landon's kind of weird.
What?
Q over Landon Dickerson's kind of weird.
Maybe it's the position.
Yeah, it could be.
It's one-on-one.
I think
right?
I think Quinyon would be drafted ahead of Landon.
Ahead of a guard.
I think NFL general managers would take Quinyon Mitchell off the board before they would take Landon Dickerson off the board.
I'm just saying quality of player. Quinyon had a great rookie year. I don't know if it was an all-pro year, and Landon Dickerson to me is an all-pro player. So,
I love Landon Dickerson, but I just think if you're talking top 100 players, if there was a draft and you're saying NFL teams are picking players like we want this player, I have no question Quinyon would be drafted.
And by the way, Quinyon, so here's what Prisco wrote in the write-ups for each player, that's a lot of time. As a rookie, Mitchell quickly showed off the skills to be a lockdown corner. His matchups with some of the league's best receivers were fun to watch, right? So,
and they were.
He's going up against some of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Landon Dickerson, it's not saying he's not going up against some of the best defensive tackles, right?
Sure.
But again, the one-on-one
and it's also something
thing
that we see more.
Yeah, it's true.
The average fan can go, All right, Quignon balled out tonight. He managed to shut down this guy or neutralize this guy. Landon Dickerson, it's not easy for every fan to go, boy, Dickerson had a great game tonight. It's much easier to be able to see what
Right, absolutely. But look, the Eagles fared well in this.
No, they did.
10 players in the top 100.
Let's see if we get. I'll see if we get Pete on to talk about.
Oh
it,
yeah,
he's obviously high on the Eagles. Remember, he wasn't as high on the Eagles before.
Yeah, he picked them to lose like every single.
We got him in the cult. He's in the cult.
He picked them to lose like everything. All right, coming up next, we'll get back to our text messages. I'm glad that the tush-push discussions are done and that the real football guys prevailed. But, Johnny, I saw something this morning that almost made me lose my mind. I actually saved it from Connor and John even seeing it. I made a noise, and Connor was like, what? And I was like, I'll save it for the show. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ray Dunn, Mike Missanelli.
You say something disrespectful, you're going to sit.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Shout out to our man Neil on the YouTube chat because Neil did the work for us.
Neil's a name you don't hear enough anymore.
I like it. That's a good name.
I like it's a strong name.
Neil informed us that we will get upset with our man Pete Prisco.
Why?
Because Justin Herbert is still ahead of Jalen Hurts in his quarterback ranking. So I found Jeff Kerr again. Shout out to Jeff Kerr for
what's up,
doing
Jeff?
The quarterback only. So Mahomes was 1, Allen was 4, so second among quarterbacks. Lamar was 6th, third among quarterbacks. Burrow 7, 4th among quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels 33rd.
Oh my gosh,
5th among quarterbacks.
Come on, Pete.
Justin Herbert 49th,
Justin
6th among
Herbert.
quarterbacks, and then Jalen Hurts. Overall ranking 52.
Okay,
7th among quarterbacks. By the way, he only climbed up 1 spot after winning the Super Bowl MVP.
Okay, I'm going to track down Pete Prisco and hopefully we'll get him on Monday.
I respect it. He's
sticking with his guns.
Exactly. Like the last time we talked to him was what, during the post Super Bowl?
No, leading up
to the Super Bowl
because he picked. I remember.
I think it's before we went to. It's before we went to New Orleans. We talked.
Yeah,
yeah, but like all those other guys were done playing already, and he had them ranked ahead of Hurts, so he's not going to change it. I mean, I respect he's just not flip flopping it.
See, now I respect Connor. To me, I'm exactly the opposite. I respect somebody who goes, okay, I had this opinion. I've received new information. Jaden Daniels' longest completion in the NFC title game, I believe, was 6 yards.
And then he celebrated after scoring a touchdown.
Somehow
down 3 scores.
The longest completion in the NFC title game was the Commanders' punter. And somehow you're going to look at the performance of Jalen Hurts and the performance of Jaden Daniels. And by the way, Jalen Hurts had the Eagles up 14-0 in the other game. Jalen Hurts outplayed him in the game they were head-to-head in the Monday night game they played. And you're going to somehow be like, well, but it's Jaden Daniels. It's just, to me, it's okay to just say, you know what, I'm moving off my position. Other data, until I see it, Jalen should be ahead of him.
Yeah, but from the last time we talked to Pete, we haven't gotten all that much other data. We haven't gotten any on any of those other guys. So it's just like he's not just going to flip it over the course of the offseason.
We've got, but the thing is,
listen, he's wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
I know he's wrong, but like he's sticking to his guns.
I mean, it's bad. That's bad.
Well,
Jaden Daniels.
Hopefully, we talk to Pete next week.
Jaden Daniels pooped himself in the NFC title game.
Yeah,
he did nothing. He did nothing in that game.
Now,
and they talked to him.
Here's what I'll say. I'm not going to base it off of just one game.
No, but
that's what I'll say.
And they talked about him like it was a Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Come on now. I think his I honestly, I'm not. I might be off on it, but I believe his longest completion was like 6 yards. He was dominated in that game. Terrible.
Yeah, I hear you.
I do know that their punter had the longest completion in the game. Terrible.
All right. I teased it going to the break. There's an update to the tush push discussion.
Oh, really?
And I find this comical.
Really?
To the point where I made a noise and Connor's like, what? And I was like, you know what? I'll save it for the air. So we know the Packers were the team that obviously tried getting rid of the tush push.
Sure.
But who was the hypocrite that was most vocal? Sean McDermott. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I care about the health of my players and blah, blah, and yet they ran it the second most. And he has since been on record saying that if it's not banned,
he'll use it.
He'll still use it.
Okay.
So that's the definition of hypocrisy. Caring about the health of your players, the reason why you want it banned is because you don't believe it's safe, and yet you're going to use it because whatever. Josh Allen was asked about the tush push in a recent interview with Sports Illustrated. Quote, I'm a big believer in if you can't stop it, keep running it, right? I think that there's a few teams that do it better than others. But then you look at a few teams that try to do it and it doesn't have the same success because 1, they maybe don't practice it enough, or 2, they don't have the guys to do it. And just because a couple of teams do it better than others, I don't feel like it should be banned.
What?
So his head coach this entire offseason was trying to be one of these vocal leaders of the dangers of the play and I don't like it and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, his quarterback that he had run the play likes it.
What?
There's more. I understand the merit of what it brings, and so I don't really sway one way or the other. I try to play the game based on the interpretation of the rules. And if that was the rule that was passed, we'll find a different way. But I feel like if you can use it to your benefit, use it to your benefit. And if you don't like it, my advice is to stop it. I love that. Now, it's annoying that he's saying it. It's annoying that he's saying it now. Like, why didn't you take a stand during the conversation when it was happening? But the fact that he's doing this whole, like, if you don't like it, stop it. And meanwhile, his head coach was one of the more annoying ones throughout the entire process.
Wow.
It's funny
you
to
wonder.
me.
You wonder if but you wonder if those are just two men having different points of view that are both getting their opinion out there.
Well, you would think he'd have probably the point of view that has more merit. The guy that's actually
I would think so.
in the play.
But that doesn't mean that that he agrees with his coach, though. Doesn't mean it.
Yeah, but his coach didn't even have real standing on his argument.
No, well, the coach is a weasel. I mean, it was a total weasel.
He's a hypocrite.
Completely on this one.
I love this that Josh Allen's like, yeah, if you don't like it, sorry. Instead of trying to ban it, try to stop it. I like you, Josh Allen.
Married man now.
Josh Allen, all right in my book.
Now he's going to have to see if the marriage slows him down now. He married the actress. So.
Maybe, yeah. Happy couple. All right, what do you got on the text line, Connor? It's 610-632-0975.
A lot of people checking in on this Phillies-Mets series that begins tonight. This texter. I love this stuff. Use the eye test. Phillies-Mets series won't determine anything. Last 3 years, this team can't hit. Couldn't close out Game 6 and 7 at home against Arizona. No hit at home in the World Series, etc. On and on. Inconsistent hitting, especially against elite pitchers. That is the MO of this team. It's not hard to understand.
Wait, so I understand that the no-hitter in the World Series is embarrassing and
horrendous.
The way they ended that NLCS was horrible. This is who we are, or this is who they are, is good enough to get to a World Series and NLCS. That's pretty cool. Do I wish certain things changed? Yeah. But to act like this team stinks when they go, I mean...
Is he saying they stink?
He's basically saying the Mets series doesn't matter because this team isn't good enough.
And the same team that got to a World Series and an NLCS.
I honestly think too much emphasis is being put on it. I said it. Talked to my friends. I'm talking friends off the ledge about this. I think too much emphasis is being put on 3 games this week.
Hang on. Like a week ago, you said that this series, if the Phillies were back like 3 games and they lose the series, they could be put out of the NL East race.
Well, they could have been but they're not. They're even now. It's a totally different situation.
So 3 games in
when
June.
When they were 5.5 games out, I did have that impression. Yes. I did have that opinion. But like an educated person, I could say, yes, falling 8.5 out games could have changed it.
Don't go the whole educated. I know you're educated.
But when they're even, it's a completely different situation. I'm not worried about it when they're even.
Okay.
If they're 5.5 out, if you lose the 3-game series and you go 8.5 out, then I think you're probably getting buried.
Well, how much should we make of this series?
Math is a little different.
Tim Kelly of On Pattison
It's not a math
joins us.
thing, all right?
Tim Kelly of On Pattison joins us coming up next to talk about this upcoming series, this Phillies team. And I wonder, again, in-house, how much does this series matter to them? It is Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
I get the update. I get the last word. A huge NL East matchup that matters heavily for the Phillies and the Mets. The Phillies took down the Marlins 2-1 in a pitcher's duel last night to take the series win in Miami. I'm Connor Thomas, and Christopher Sanchez went 8 innings with 1 earned in a dominant start. Kyle Schwarber hit a go-ahead home run in the 8th inning, and the Phils are on a roll. The Mets, they're on the opposite. They've lost a bunch of games in a row, and the Phils and Mets are now tied at the top of the NL East heading into a big-time weekend series at the bank. Game 1 is tonight at 7:15 p.m. Zach Wheeler faces off against Blade Tidwell in the pitching matchup. The NBA draft begins on Wednesday, and we had a lot of reaction yesterday to top draft prospect Ace Bailey canceling his workout with the Sixers. Keith Pompey of The Inquirer joined the Mike Missanelli show yesterday to talk about the whole process there that Ace Bailey's going through.
They want him to go somewhere where he can become a superstar and be the man. So it's crazy, but it's not the first time that someone declined to work out for a team because they felt that the other team would have been a better fit for him.
Not only is the NBA draft coming up, the NHL draft is also this coming week. Last night, the Pacers, they extended the NBA Finals to an all-important Game 7, taking down the Thunder 108-91. Game 7 is Sunday at 8 p.m. We're going to talk to Tim Kelly of On Pattison coming up next for the latest on the Phillies. This update's brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on Allstate on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the NBA Finals in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Good news.
Monday, Pete Prisco, 825.
Oh, yes.
He said, so you guys can bitch at me about Jalen Hurts.
I love it. See, that's why I like Pete, though.
I said, we'll see if
he doesn't run and hide.
No,
like
he doesn't.
Chris Sims.
He never does.
Like Chris Sims runs and hides.
No, and he knows. And I said, yeah, but you got a lot of good things. I said, there's going to be a lot of bouquets, too, for your Eagles love, too. I said, there's a lot of things. And
it doesn't have to be whether or not he likes the Eagles. It's just,
no, I said, it's there it is. So Pete Prisco, Monday at 8:25, he will join us.
I'm looking forward to that. Well, right now, joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. I think he does a tremendous job covering the Phillies for On Pattison, and he's doing a tremendous job talking Connor's ear off. That's Tim Kelly, now on the Comcast Business Hotline.
Well, I mean,
What's up, Tim? Good morning, man.
What's going on, guys? Good to be back on with you.
Yeah, it's good to have you, man, especially ahead of a big series with the Mets. Obviously, taking 3 or 4 against the Marlins, that's fun and all, but we all know what really matters, and that's these next 3 games. So let's talk about it. Tim, I get it. It's a series in June, but considering the playoff series, how that played out, considering earlier this year when the Phillies got swept by them and they looked like they had no life, how big in your mind is this upcoming weekend series with the Mets?
I think it's pretty big. I mean, you didn't play well when you were in New York earlier this season, so I think this series, when you come in both with matching 45 and 30 records, this series kind of determines the outlook on what the NL East is going to be, at least for the next couple months, in terms of who is perceived as the favorite. The Braves are a distant third right now. Wouldn't entirely rule them out, but it hasn't been a good season for them. Right now it feels like it's going to come down to the Mets and the Phillies, and how this series, if one of these two teams sweeps the other team, I think they kind of take the commanding lead in terms of perception of who's going to win the division.
Tim, since both teams have been so erratic, the Mets, though, their erraticism seems to be tied to injury. Is the Phillies' erraticism in your mind tied in any way, like back to Harper's absence before? Because they don't seem to be missing it right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think their erraticism has been less tied to Bryce Harper, as important as Bryce Harper is, and more tied to what the rest of the lineup outside of Harper, Turner, Schwarber does. What's changed these last couple weeks is that Real Muto, Kepler, some of the other guys in the lineup, Brandon Marsh, Alec Boehm, that had really struggled, they've gotten going, and all of a sudden this doesn't look like a lineup that only has 2 or 3 hitters you can count on. It looks like a pretty good lineup. So I think that's what it is in a sense. And then also you have questions in the bullpen. Those are a little bit more difficult to solve, and I think they're going to have to make some additions and move some guys around in the summer to kind of figure that out. But I think you have seen the lineup become better over the last few weeks. It's just a question of how are they able to sustain that.
John and I talked about this yesterday. Curious to get your opinion on it. Brandon Marsh has been playing better baseball as of late, last couple of weeks. Would that impact Dave Dombrowski's decision to acquire a center fielder? Because that's sort of been the position we've all been focusing on all season long.
Well, I don't think it should impact his decision on whether they think center field is a need. The problem is there's so few impact center fielders. Like some of the guys we've been talking about Luis Robert for over a year now. He's not having a good season. Cedric Mullins is a guy that looked like a superstar and has just turned out to be an above-average player, but I don't know how drastic of an impact he would make over someone like Marsh. So I don't think it changes your impact, but there was already a reality that it was going to be pretty hard to make a significant upgrade at that position. And it's possible that your best upgrade is just to have Brandon Marsh play better.
The idea of the long-term future, now that you know what the plan is for Zach Wheeler down the line and the indecision over what is Aaron Nola dealing with and how is he going to be long-term, how comfortable do you think they're going to be on emptying the coffers to try to really bolster this team?
Well, I don't think they're going to empty it, and that's one of the perceptions of Dave Dombrowski that has not proven to be true, at least in his time with the Phillies. They've really been pretty protective of their elite prospects. Andrew Painter's going nowhere. I would be very surprised if Aiden Miller goes anywhere. I mean, I guess beyond that you can't rule anything out, but there's a few other guys, Crawford, Taid. It would take a pretty special opportunity, I think, to move any one of them. So I don't think they're going to do that. That doesn't mean they won't make trades, but I do think this is about building sustainability. And I remember when the Phillies announced Matt Klentak was being let go as general manager, John Middleton talking about one of the things the Phillies haven't done outside of a few eras in history is consistently develop talent. And what they've done through these first few years with Dave Dombrowski is kind of use their financial muscle to overcome that. But in the meantime, their farm system has gotten better, and now you're close to getting some of the rewards for it. So I don't think they're going to trade those top guys. I'm interested to see how they proceed with Mick Abel, because he's somebody that maybe could be expendable in the right situation, but also could make an impact for you, and is already making an impact for you. So I don't think they're going to empty out the farm system, but I do think they'll trade from there in some way.
Tim Kelly joins us here on the Comcast Business Hotline as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. You brought up Justin Crawford. Now, I want to revisit something you said earlier. You said maybe the best option is for Brandon Marsh to just play better. I hate that option because I've seen the story 3 years in a row now. I'm glad that he's playing good baseball right now, but I think there's improvements. Let's talk about Crawford. Do we see him this year, or do they let it ride with the Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas platoon?
I would tend to think they let it ride, but it wouldn't surprise me if Justin Crawford is up in September. They kind of opened themselves up to this discussion, though, by having Crawford begin the year at AAA, and it was a challenge to him, and he's done pretty well in that challenge. But had they had him start the year at AA and then called him up to AAA, I don't think we'd really be having this debate. That they started him at AAA and he's hitting well and has had a good season, it does kind of make you wonder. I don't know how he could exist on this roster right now with so many left-handed hitters. You would have to, in my mind, trade one of either Max Kepler or Brandon Marsh, and I'm not saying you wouldn't do that, but they would have to feel like it's a significant upgrade right now over one of those two, and I'm not sure it's going to be that. I wouldn't rule out. I don't think it's a 0% possibility Justin Crawford makes an impact for the Phillies this year, but I kind of think you're looking for how do you piece it together until next year when he's ready to take over.
Do you look at the landscape? They've already won a series against the Dodgers. They've already won 2 series against the Cubs. And then they have the inexcusable series against the Pirates and some others. Like how would you score it out? We're almost at the halfway point of the season. After the Astros series, we're going to be at the 81-game mark. What would be the Kelly report card?
I think they've been good, but you certainly have questions. I still have questions about whether they have enough impact bats. I think they need another middle-of-the-order impact bat, and that's not easy to get, and the fact that you've kind of turned things around the last couple of weeks offensively clouds that picture in my mind. I also think you're going to need to add at least one external real impact reliever, if not 2. So you have that. At the same time, the starting pitching has lived up to the billing, even without Aaron Nola having a good season. Zach Wheeler, among the best pitchers in baseball, as usual. The last 2 nights you've seen Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez have been tremendous. Jesus Luzardo, outside of a couple starts, has been really good. So you have probably the best starting pitching in baseball, and you have Andrew Painter set to join you. So I think they're in a good spot. They're not the favorites to win the World Series. The NL is as good as it's ever been in my lifetime, I think. But they're going to be a team that goes in with a chance. So I kind of think that's where they're at right now.
All right, Tim. The other day, obviously, the big story was the benching of Nick Castellanos. And then the next day, when Rob Thompson was asked, would you do it again in terms of replacing Nick Castellanos in the field, he said, no, not today.
Not today.
Do you believe that at some point he does go back to it, or do you think this was enough of an interaction where it won't happen again?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting storylines from this series because like the first year or two with Castellanos, he did occasionally sub him out. Last year, he didn't do it at all. He hadn't done it at all early on this year. I certainly think you can justify doing it. It's just whether you think the upgrade you're getting is enough of an upgrade to warrant whatever frustration you're getting from Nick Castellanos, which we don't know what he said, but clearly must have been pretty bad. So I'm interested to see how that plays out this series because I do think late in some of these close games, your best defensive outfield is Rojas in center, Marsh in left, and Max Kepler in right. I know Max Kepler lost the ball in the lights the other night, still a really good defender. And it's not just about getting Castellanos out. Marsh is much better in left field than he is in center field, and Rojas is your best center fielder. So you have to balance some egos here, but I think that is the right move late in games, close games, to take him out. whether they actually do that or not, I don't know. I know he said he wouldn't do it 2 nights ago. He also didn't do it last night. So we'll see.
I just don't understand how he's not, how that's not just called out as craziness. If it was very important for him to do it the other night, then why would he be backing down? Who's in charge here? I mean, did that come from who's he taking orders from, or did he get bullied into not doing it?
Well, I do think the optics of beginning to do it in Miami when it's a home series for Nick Castellanos, I understand why Castellanos might have been frustrated, and Castellanos is somebody that is gigantic and intimidating in some senses in the minds of some people, but he is someone that also is a straight shooter, and if you tell him, he usually is pretty open to whatever you tell him, even if he doesn't agree. I think we'll see in this series. I think there's a chance maybe he just didn't want to do it in Miami, let things blow over, and they'll go back to doing it in this series. People wanted Rob Thompson to kind of, I hear all the time, he doesn't hold guys accountable. Well, Nick Castellanos had a few bad defensive plays on the last series, and they made an adjustment, and when Castellanos didn't give a good response to it, they benched him even though he was in the midst of that streak. So I think Rob Thompson did kind of stand up, if that's what you're looking for, in that series. Whether he does that moving forward or not, I'm not sure.
Tim, listen, man, we appreciate the time. You're doing a great job covering the Phillies for Ron Patterson. Thanks for coming on with us again. We'll be bugging you again down the road.
All right, sounds good.
There he is. There's Tim Kelly on the Comcast Business Hotline.
It's amazing. The story is crazy, and Mike did a great job with it.
That's his topic yesterday. That's a Mikey miss second level thinking.
Well, I mean, it was crazy. Why you do it one day and then you just abandon it?
Now he did straight up say,
"Well, we're not doing it today."
He did say that yesterday.
Well, why are you not doing it?
Well, we did laugh and we credited him.
Yeah, but why are you not doing it today?
Well, you know why you're not doing it.
Yeah, because Nick Castellanos.
Because you got bullied into it?
Yeah, now the question is, does he do it this weekend?
Sometimes you just let stuff blow over a little bit.
And maybe this weekend he does it. Speaking of this
was it
weekend,
that important to you?
Speaking of this weekend, Phil's Mets, we will preview this series coming up next because the pitching matchup, everybody's talking about how the pitching matchup, all the injuries the Mets have. And maybe game 1, games 2 and 3, not so much. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. 97.5, The Fanatic. Give me a number, Johnny.
I'm going to go off the board, something I don't usually do. 7.
All right. Caller 7 to 610-632-0975 will win a 4-pack of the grandstand tickets to the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 NASCAR Cup Series race.
Mike Vito probably tried to take them for himself and didn't get to.
I wouldn't be surprised. The race is 1 month from today, Sunday, July 20th at Dover Motor Speedway. NASCAR returns to Dover Motor Speedway for the weekend events, July 18th through the 20th. See NASCAR's best drivers race at speeds up to 200 miles an hour, and then amazing fan zone and more. Get tickets at DoverMotorspeedway.com. Some people are saying Shedeur Sanders might be racing it.
Yeah, it's great. You know what he said is, he's just a little kid. You hear his explanation?
No, I did not.
I'm just a little kid. I'll learn.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just a little kid. I'll learn.
I didn't realize.
He's 23.
I did not realize this was the second time this month. Did you see that? I did not know that.
Second time.
Yeah.
And he's doing a Hyundai. He's doing a Hyundai.
Yeah.
Now, I used to have the fancier car that you could customize the dashboard.
Yeah.
That it would light up to me if my car ever hit 80.
You were going a certain speed.
If I hit 80, it would go red. It would go blood red. The entire dashboard you could have light up. So I would know, dude, you're going too fast.
Right.
You're doing 100. You're purposely doing 100. You're purposely being a stupid ass.
Yeah.
Doing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Where you could kill somebody. Not only yourself, but take somebody else's family out.
Yeah.
And you're doing that.
Hopefully,
but I'm just a kid.
Hopefully he matures from it.
He's 23 years old.
Hopefully he matures from it, Johnny.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, the
Good luck with
probables for this weekend series between the Phillies and the Metropolitans. We've been joking around with the name Blade Tidwell. It's a great name. If he didn't play for the Mets, I'd cheer for him. Not tonight, obviously.
Nah.
But Blade Tidwell, that's a strong name.
Blade Tidwell.
I root for good named people.
Hello,
Yeah,
Blade.
but I'm saying no. He's a Met, so no.
I know exactly.
Screw your name.
What does your name mean?
Blade Tidwell,
My
man.
parents just thought it was cute.
So Blade Tidwell, he's in for Senga, who is injured, who has been the best pitcher for the Mets this season, and that's why we've gotten a couple of texts today saying, "Oh, this series doesn't matter. They're not even healthy." Well,
They're
Canning,
not even healthy.
Griffin Canning goes in game 2. He's been good.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, Harper's out the entire series.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you freaking talking about? So Harper's out the whole. And by the way, Harper's been out for weeks now.
And oh, by the way, not that.
Like, what are you talking about?
Not that anyone's totally missing him all that much. I can also say that Aaron Nola is not pitching in this series.
Nobody's missing him. Have you seen the starting pitching numbers? They're not missing him at all.
If we're doing the injury conversation.
No, it's a blessing that he's out. He was the black hole of the rotation.
But that's like Griffin Canning, 6-3, 3.80 ERA this year. David Peterson pitches game 3. He's 5-2 with a 2.60 ERA. So
those guys, they're both pitching really well.
Like it's people that will find whatever they can to not buy into this Phillies team.
Yes.
That they are already. It's amazing that we've gotten texts, and Connor, I don't know how many we've gotten sort of to this tune, but we've gotten numerous texts that we've read on the air so far of the people that are almost already setting up, hey, don't get too happy if they take 2 of 3. Here's why. Why do we do this? Or why do some of you do this?
Some people have already given up on this team. That's part of it.
That's incredible. It's incredible to me. Giving up on we are the home of the Sixers, and I get it. Anybody who tells me that they are totally, I can't do it with the Sixers. I can't do it. I cannot do it. That they're going to keep going down this path. I totally get you. The Phillies, are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
By the way, there is an alert from the Phillies that they are saying with the exciting lineup of events this weekend. They're telling with multiple events in the sport complex today. Connor, you're going to the footy today.
I am. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's
the Club
soccer
World Cup
here,
game at Lincoln Financial Field at 2 o'clock and the Phillies game at 7:15. Fans are encouraged to take public transportation to Friday's Club World Cup and Phillies games if they can and allow extra time. Traffic is expected to be very congested.
Yeah, because people are going to be leaving when a lot of people are going to be coming for the Phillies game.
Between 4 and 5:30. It's expected to be really bad.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broad Street line because I'm going to be
that's
drinking.
Smart, Colin. And that's an even better reason.
At least it's 4 and 5:30. Nothing was worse than my experience going to Game 2 of the NLCS in 2023 when I missed the first 4 innings because the Phillies and D-backs were playing. It was Mexico and who else was playing soccer at the link. And the Flyers had a game all at the same time. And it took me and my dad 2 hours. We left my house because, I had to wait for my wife to get home because we had a baby at the house. We left the house around like 6:30 for the 8 o'clock first pitch. By the time we got to the city, it was 8:30 because the bridge was back. Because the bridge was that back. And then people on social media, you should have left earlier. Like
how early do you want to leave?
I left an hour and a half from South Jersey, which is a 20-minute drive, no traffic. No, sorry, 15-minute drive, no traffic. Took me an hour and a half that day. And then by the time I found parking, we parked on Oregon Ave.
That's incredible.
Found a random parking spot and risked whatever ticket we risked, which we didn't get one.
Brutal.
Yeah, so
that's brutal.
But yeah, the public transit, that's going to be the way to go. Zach Wheeler gets to start game 1 for the Phils. Mick Abel game 2. Jesus Luzardo game 3. And you're going to the Abel start.
I'm going to the Able start tomorrow night.
That's because
looking forward to that.
Did you pick the Able start, or did you already have tickets?
No, we had already picked this one for the.
So it just worked out for you.
So the girl, I always like to take the girl. So it's the wife, the daughter, and the boyfriend.
Okay, that's good.
Tomorrow night,
nice family gathering.
So, family and one interloper.
Yes,
that's
nice.
Family gathering with one interloper. A little dinner earlier. So that's great.
You wouldn't call that a family gathering?
I would.
Yeah, I would call that a family gathering.
It's a family gathering with one guest. Yes.
How long have they been dating?
Quite a while.
Family gathering.
That's family gathering.
Well, that's not family yet. It's not family.
I would say that's family gathering.
He's a nice young man. How about that? You ain't getting any more out of me than that. He's a nice young man. I don't dislike him.
Did he call you dad yet?
No, and that ain't happening. Don't dislike him. I do not dislike him. He's a nice young man.
Coming up next.
He's a nice young man. His parents should be very proud of the young man that he is.
I hope he calls you Pop.
That's not happening. That ain't happening.
Coming up next.
What is this, Happy Days?
As we have reached
seriously.
As we've reached the back half of June, John, we have entered sicko NFL content territory.
Well, that's Prisco Monday at 8:25.
No. This is even worse.
Another sicko?
This is even worse. I read it this morning, and all I could do was laugh. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phils take 3 of 4. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies beat the Marlins 2-1 last night. It was a low-scoring affair because Christopher Sanchez went 8 innings with 1 earned. The Phillies took 3 of the 4 games in the series down in Miami. Kyle Schwarber hit the go-ahead home run in the 8th inning last night. On top of that, the Mets lost again last night. They got swept by the Braves, so the Phils and them are tied at the top of the NL East, heading into a huge weekend series at the Bank. Game 1 is tonight at 7:15 p.m. Zach Wheeler faces off against Blade Tidwell in the pitching matchup. The NBA draft is on Wednesday, and we had a lot of reaction yesterday to one of the top draft prospects, Ace Bailey, canceling his workout with the Sixers. Here's what Keith Pompey of the Inquirer had to say about Ace.
They want him to go somewhere where he can become a superstar and be the man. So it's crazy, but it's not the first time that someone declined to work out for a team because they felt that the other team would have been a better fit for him.
Not only is the NBA draft coming up, the NHL draft comes up next week, so we'll keep you updated on the news ahead of that for the Sixers and the Flyers. Last night, the Pacers took down the Thunder 108-91 to force Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Game 7 is Sunday at 8 p.m. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are back with offers on vehicles like the 2025 E-Class, CLE Coupe, C-Class, and EQE Sedan. Hurry in now through July 31st. Learn more at mbusa.com/dream. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the NBA Finals in Philadelphia, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
break. A couple breaks ago, I saw Rodney Bird.
I just saw Rodney. It looks like $1 million.
Rodney is our chief engineer here for the Beasley Media Group stations here in Philadelphia. And I was talking to him about the storms yesterday. So in case people missed it, we talked about it earlier. Some of the roof of this building blew off, and I was just asking him more about some of the other damage because he has to make sure the equipment is good and everything. The air conditioning units were tipped over. So there's going to be a crane here later on today to fix the AC units because these aren't.
How is the air conditioning working? Because it's very cool in here.
Yeah, it feels great. And maybe there's multiple units up there because it's a big building.
Sure.
Now something I didn't even notice because the photo that was sent to us yesterday was of the empty parking lot. There were still a lot of cars. Ronnie's truck got damaged.
By what? Flying debris?
Yeah, flying. And somebody, I forget who he said it was. Somebody in our sales staff, their windshield got shattered.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that
was bad.
It was bad,
but it wasn't bad out in Landview. It wasn't too bad. Like we weren't we got bad rain. It was nasty rain. It was yellow and red on the marker. But people were saying it was really bad out in different parts.
I had some high winds and rain for maybe 20 minutes. That was it.
Yeah, it seemed like it was around a half hour for us.
Wasn't like
and then it was
really have
and
it
then
all
it was
bad.
This morning was so nice and cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh
good,
my
man.
gosh.
Felt good. Changed the entire weather for today. Today
it was
supposed
fantastic.
to be upper 90s day. All right, so we have reached sicko content mode.
Okay, what's that about?
Because it's June 20th, and the people that cover the NFL need to continue to find ways to keep the content going.
Okay.
Right? Bill Barnwell of ESPN. I give him credit. He's trying. He's doing something, right? You still have to hit your quota of stories, right?
Okay.
In the day of lists that we have here, Johnny, the top NFL luxury players in 2025, from best slot cornerback to backup quarterback, Bill Barnwell breaks down the luxury players. So slot cornerback, that one makes sense because I still believe it's one of the most important positions on a football field, even though people don't like hearing that, and a lot of football people agree with me. He has Cooper DeJean as the best slot cornerback in the NFL.
Well, that's
after 1 year. That's incredible.
Wow. That's
good for Cooper DeJean. Now here's where it's sicko territory.
He also has him number one as most likely to bump into at a local nightclub.
Probably. He's been having fun.
He's all over.
This is when it becomes sicko territory. I got the actual exciting one out of the way. Best sixth offensive lineman.
What? Come on.
What's wrong with you?
Come on.
Oh, me?
No.
Oh,
Bill Barnwell.
I was going to say, he's got to do content. He covers the NFL. It's June, right? So he's got to do something. So he has Alec Anderson of the Bills.
What?
Best blitzing off-ball linebacker.
What?
I'll give you some more. Best kicker for kickoffs. Not like field goals. Best kicker for kickoffs
is
Blake Groupie of the Saints.
How could he tell who he played for? Wow, that's incredible.
It gets
we're getting bad.
It gets better. Best special teams gunner.
Not Brendan Gunn.
No, but the guy's name is Brendan. Brendan Schooler of the Patriots. Best blocking tight end. Best short yardage running back. Specifically for short yardage. He goes Kareem Hunt of the Chiefs. Not like, Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, who I imagine is...
I think Jalen Hurts is the best short yardage running back.
That could be it, too.
I don't know how he wouldn't be.
Best gadget player, Marvin Mims Jr., wide receiver of the Broncos. Best fourth wide receiver, Olamide Zaccheaus. And best backup quarterback, he has Kirk Cousins. Oh, best two-down defensive tackle. What? How does somebody come? By the way, he doesn't have Jordan Davis. You would think that would be Jordan Davis. He has T.J. Slayton at the Bengals. How do you even come up with that?
Well, two down is, he'd be right in the mix. Man, that's incredible.
But I get it.
It's bad.
It's got to be tough, right? Like you're covering the NFL and you get to June and you're like, all right, I got to come up with something to write about. But We're breaking down the best kicker for kickoffs.
This is like when you remember some weird baseball player from some irrelevant team that no one else even thinks of. Just like your brain scares me sometimes. So does Bill Barnwell's.
Yeah,
that's scary.
And he has information for all of it. That's the crazy thing. Like he doesn't just like throw out a name. Like he took the time. I wonder how much time this took. And was it worth it?
That's crazy.
I guess working for ESPN and probably getting paid decent money is worth it.
Well, that's
You're
his job.
Right.
That's his job. Come up with something creative. And we talked about it. That's good.
I respect the hustle, but I question the sanity.
Like that's the thing. Like I think I would go insane if I even tried doing that. Like that was a crazy one for me. All right. Anyways.
Welcome to June.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. I mean, it's like it's the baseball beat writer in January or February, right? Like pre-spring training, but post-league meetings. Like that's you gotta write about something.
You gotta come up with something,
right? Like that's your job.
And that's where I think the Priscos and them of the world make their bones.
Yeah.
Can you find something that's creative, that's different, that's an angle, or that is something that's not different, that's not creative, but you just are so credible that people like to read your stuff.
Right, exactly. And that's why we have Pete coming on Monday.
Monday at 8:25.
All right, Connor, what do we got on the text line today? Obviously, big story has been the build-up to Phillies Mets with this big series that starts tonight.
Mark from Clementon says, all division games are important, but this Mets series will show you a lot about their makeup at this point of the season. Crucial series this weekend. I won't go off if they win or lose, but my confidence level will change depending on the outcome.
Okay, now that's fair to me.
That's a very logical text.
That to me is, that's every once in a while, that's a great one. You get the real logical one. That's very logical to me.
Because, like, I saw somebody on our YouTube chat going, man, you guys crushed some of these texters. It's like, well, when somebody says this series means nothing but if they lose, well, then don't give me if it means nothing to somebody, then you should not complain if they lose.
Correct. I mean, you can't
say it means nothing if they win, but it means something if they lose. Like that's to me, that's nonsense.
It either means something or it doesn't. It's got to be one or the other. And if you can make a compelling case that it means, and again, I'm leaning more towards the camp that says it doesn't.
Right, you have been.
Unless
they look horrible for 3 days.
If the Phillies look crappy for 3 days, yes, I will be annoyed on Monday. If they come in, if the Phillies play 3 tight games and they play tough and they lose 2 out of 3, I am not losing any sleep over it at all. They lead with a 1-game deficit. I'm like, okay. Next series,
I would be disappointed, and maybe it's my hatred for the Mets that adds to it.
Well, that's what it is.
That could be part of it for me.
That's what it's got to be. I just can't do that. So because I know how irrelevant it is in June, because last year we saw it.
But here's what would suck.
It meant nothing.
Here's what would suck if they lose 2 of 3, right? And this will go to the point of the people that say this series doesn't matter because of the Mets injuries, which it's one starting pitcher. The Phillies, to your point, John, they're missing Bryce Harper, their best player. If the Phillies win game 1, Wheeler beats this Blade Tidwell guy. But then they lose the next 2 games to better pitching. That will be another thing that will drive people nuts.
Okay, now that would be one that I would have some more concern.
Like, okay, you beat the Blade Tidwell fella, but you couldn't beat the other 2.
Okay, so they lose, but do they lose 3-2? Do they lose 4-3? Do they lose 5-4? I mean, like, I'm not gonna lose sleep if they.
Well, I guess there's also the context to it. Like I think Connor said earlier, or maybe it was one of our texters, I forget. If the Phillies are up 3-2 in one of these games and then the bullpen blows it again.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that, hey, if it prompts them to not get fooled into
I don't think Dave Dombrowski will be fooled by this bullpen.
No, he is not going to be.
Yeah, I promise you. They could have shutout innings from now until the trade deadline. He's still acquiring.
I would just ask Dave Dombrowski, why do you keep... Number one question I would have with Dave, why do you keep fixing stuff every trade deadline and then you break it in the offseason? So you have to keep going back and fix... Just fix something and then keep it fixed. I don't get it. I don't get what the strategy is.
I didn't understand
it makes no sense.
Strategy. It was a pretty rough offseason for Dave Dombrowski, and we've held him to it. He can try to fix it in about a month and change.
And then next season he'll break it. He'll break it in the offseason. It's unbelievable.
All right, text messages. Key 3 comes your way next on this Friday morning. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. During the break, I like to scour the YouTube chat every once in a while, see what we got going on. And I saw Alex Green pop up on here, revisiting the Doomsday when I drove for Game 2 of the NLCS, and it took me 2 hours to get there. Leaving at 6:30 for an NLCS game is a violation.
Okay, it is late 6:30.
All right, the game was at 8:07 first pitch. So
yeah, it's a late jump.
That's a late jump. That's way late. For a playoff game, that's way late.
Why?
Because it's way late. Because you
gotta be there.
It's crazy traffic.
Normal normal day would not have taken me 2 hours. It was because there was that soccer game and because of the hockey game as well. Again, there's context. I had to wait for my wife to get home because what was I going to do? Go ahead, Coop.
No, okay, so let's take Coop out of it. Let's say Coop doesn't exist. I love Coop, but you could just leave whenever. Are you still leaving an hour and a half ahead of it?
Oh, I'm going to be there for 3 hours tailgating beforehand.
Fair enough.
I can't, but I can't.
No, but I mean,
you just couldn't.
I couldn't do that.
That's fine. That's different though. But
so when you drop
it is late though.
Yeah, I get it. But when you drop the violin again, like what am I supposed to do? Like,
well, they're just talking about the time frame.
No, but they're talking about the time frame. It is
a fair reason.
Right, Cooper's a fair reason, but that is way too late.
Considering my wife works and like I had to wait till she got home.
No, but that's way too late though to be leaving for that game.
I would have been there.
There was a reason, but it's way too late.
Yeah, honestly, I probably would have been in the building because when they open the gates, usually before a playoff game,
2 hours,
2 hours, right? Don't they?
Hours.
They usually open them up earlier. So
they're opening. By the way, they're opening they opened the stadium earlier this year. So
yeah, which I love that they're doing all that.
I love that
stuff.
too. It's great.
I don't know why that wasn't like rules in the past. Like I love that they're opening up the people pay hard-earned money to get to these games. Like I think
and
that's
they pay hard-earned money when you let them in. Everybody drinking longer.
That's
exactly.
Connor, there's the code you just cracked.
Yeah, that's why they want you in there.
No, but
it's like, but I don't understand why it took so long to figure that out. Get him in there. People love hanging out at the ballpark.
Yeah,
let them eat
Bank
cake.
is beautiful.
Pretty sure John Middleton said that.
I think they sell cake too. There's cake somewhere in there.
I would not be surprised if there was cake. Yeah, the s'mores quesadilla. I've not tried.
I have not tried it.
Not a sweet tooth guy.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, some sweets have been affected by what I did medically wise.
Yeah.
That doesn't look at me, but I'm not a s'mores guy, and I know you think that's blasphemy.
I love s'mores.
I'm not a s'mores guy.
That is a go-to.
Not s'moresy.
That's a go-to treat.
Not
good with the marshmallows. I always catch them on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bad.
Oh,
at
you
that.
do? You see, I love the burnt marshmallow.
I just like seeing them light on fire.
The scorched marshmallow?
It's fun.
Awesome.
Or when you're in college and you're just trying to get creative, you throw them in the microwave. What do we got in the text line at 610-632-0975?
We got some s'mores talk, actually.
Oh, no, we don't.
No, we don't. But we have some Phillies Mets talk. Zach from Florida says 100% need 2 out of 3 against the Mets. 1, I absolutely hate the Mets. 2, I need to see they can win a series against them. Hasn't happened in a while.
That losing, getting swept by the Mets earlier this year messed people up. And again,
it messed some people up.
Dude, I think it messed a lot of people
No, I do
up.
think. I think some people. I think it messed up the alarmists.
And I think there's people that are still waiting for this series. And if they lose 2 of 3 to the texter's point, regardless, I think, John, of how it plays out, people are, because he says they haven't won a series against the Mets in a long time. And they were the team that knocked you out of the playoffs last year, and they swept you earlier this season. If they come into your home building and take 2 of 3,
it's not going
to. Monday's going to suck.
I will try to be the voice of reason for those of you who will not do that.
Good luck,
because I am not. If they play well this weekend and lose 2 out of 3, I refuse. I'm not going to do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, and then somebody will say,
because
but they didn't play well enough.
And I'm going to say, well, what happened last? Can we go back to last June? Because on Monday's date, the Mets were still under 500, and what did they do to the Phillies in October? The Phillies will have beaten their asses through that point of last year's date, and then the Mets came in and kicked their asses in October. It doesn't matter.
Well,
Don't put that much emphasis on a series in June.
No.
Take away what you can, but don't be overemphasizing the outcome of 3 games.
You're missing the point of the opponent, though. It's not necessarily people saying the quality of this Phillies team. The Mets might be their kryptonite, and they certainly look like it right now. And even though this doesn't really change their ability to win the NL East or not, if you continue to lose series to the Mets and think the Mets will be waiting there at some point in the postseason, it's going to bother a lot of people.
Okay, but again, last June, we would have been saying Phillies are rampaging to the division title. Mets are an under 500 club. Phillies have handled the Mets handedly. They won't be an issue in October. The Mets aren't going to even be there in October.
Were the Phillies handling the Mets last year? I feel like they didn't play them well in the regular season either.
No, the Phillies are handling the Mets. Phillies were handling everybody. It
was the London
division
thing
was over.
That's when
they split a 2-game series in London.
Yeah. And then it went downhill from
right, but the Mets owned them in the regular season last year. Again, it's not quality of baseball team to me. It's can this team beat that team? Because that team is going to be there. Like, it's not – the Phillies could win 140 games. But if they can't beat the Mets, people are going to be worried about that. That's why the series is so big.
Yeah, I just know. I know the psyche of how people will react.
The Phillies,
if they drop
the Phillies
2 or
had
3.
won 3 out of 4 at New York last year, and then the Phillies had played them in London, and they split a series.
Gotcha.
So the Phillies were 4-2 against the Mets on the same date in June. So the Mets did not own them. The Phillies had in fact owned them. Went in and beat them 5-4, 4-0, 10-5, and lost the 4th game of a 4-game series at New York. So I mean, the
texter said it's been a long time since they won a series against the Mets,
last year we were like, come on. Last year we were dominating the Mets in June. We were the clearly dominant team. We were running away with the division. The Mets were an under 500 club, and it didn't mean anything in October. Like, you're putting too much emphasis on a series in June about, well, it's going to mean something in October.
I'm telling you, the mental psyche
I understand.
of this
but all they have to
base.
do is look back a year and say it didn't matter then.
They ended up going 7-6 against the Mets last year,
Correct.
which isn't a great record.
It fell apart in the second half, so it didn't matter what happened early. So don't worry as much about it.
Some people would say it doesn't matter till it matters.
That is the truth. Wise men say. Only fools rush.
All right, give us another text message there, Connor.
All right, we have a lot of people checking in on this Mets thing, and I'd imagine this is a little bit sarcastic on this one, but we do have a texter saying, sweep the Mets, we win the World Series, lose the series this weekend, sell the team, move them.
You know what I am interested in, though, is, again, don't let them taking over our stadium. It's so embarrassing. The tickets are already bought. But letting them come in and do the "Let's Go Mets" and being out cheered in our building, it is embarrassing because it shouldn't be happening.
It's going to happen, though.
But it shouldn't be happening. It should not happen.
Okay, I hear you.
Well, people are going to sell tickets, and Mets fans are going to buy them. They're not going to outweigh us, though.
One question before the key 3.
No, they might. Have you seen some of the Mets fans?
We have somebody on YouTube, Raw.
What's up, Raw? Is that a wrestling fan?
I don't know.
Could be.
I'd get the taste slapped out of my mouth if I said, quote, my wife works, which is what I said, instead of my wife earns a wage.
What? What?
Is that we're not allowed to say people work anymore?
No, that's dumb. Don't read too much into it. That's dumb. Just let it go.
Because in 2025, you have to say things the certain way.
Nope,
Wait, no, you
stupid.
don't. No, you don't.
That's a new one to me.
No.
John?
My wife had a career, then my wife left her career.
John, you earn your wage really well.
Yes, my wage is earned.
You earn your wage.
And you know what? I wouldn't trade places with my wife, who raised our daughter and was a housewife. Is that, you're not allowed to say that anymore?
Connor, you keep earning that wage.
Oh, my
over
gosh.
There. All right.
Wow.
Very confused. All right,
People got a
time
lot
now
of time
for
on
the
their
Kincade
hands.
Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Phillies have rampaged back into a tie for first place.
This is why I
weird.
did not panic during the bad 4-game losing streak during the 9 of 10 stretch. I stand by what I have said. They are not good enough to win the World Series, but they are still a playoff team. They need to make moves before the deadline because if you look around Major League Baseball, to your point, the Mets have fallen apart a little bit.
Yeah, they're having their stretch like the Phillies had right now, and they roll into town tonight.
You want to go to the American League? The Yankees had to have a team meeting because they were losing consecutive games to the Angels and the Red Sox.
They're 1-6 in their last 7.
So it happens. And when people were panicked, and if I said something to the tune of, hey, I'm not freaking out, then I would get attacked by people on social media.
I honestly will roll in Monday morning and hold me to it. If the Phillies play a pretty clean series and they lose 2 out of 3, I'm not in the least bit going to be. I won't even blink.
Does it do anything for you that it's at home though?
No,
Bank Park.
No. I won't even blink.
No, that's a major issue.
Like it was. It won't. I'm just saying for me, it won't affect my psyche about the whole season or anything in the least. If they go out and play a poor series, that will affect me. And if they play a poor series, even if they win it, if they're playing poor baseball, that will affect me worse. I don't give a damn about what Alec Bohm did. I had nothing to say about Alec Bohm. Like, he goes, I had one guy on my timeline go, oh, can't wait to hear him kill Bohm. No. Alec Bohm's been fantastic for a long stretch of time.
If it was Turner, you
and I
would've
said it yesterday.
said something.
Guys are going to make errors. And that was look, he booted a ball at a bad time. That was a terrible time to do it. But I'm not worried about that rolls right off my back, something like that. We have 2 more years after this one of Zach Wheeler, which I think is also a blessing for the Phillies franchise because it gives them a sense of urgency.
Correct.
It also then tells them, here's your timeline, here's what you need to do. And that's one of the reasons why, for me, Mick Abel right now, from what I've seen, is a no-go on leaving.
Okay.
The door's locked for me. But I think it spins out into other things, too. Kyle Schwarber's a free agent. Kyle Schwarber very much would, by all accounts, would like to be here. But he's taking it to free agency, and you know he's going to find suitors. And 3 years, $100 million has been talked about now by prominent Major League Baseball insiders.
Okay.
Are the Phillies going 3 years, $100 million?
I would think so.
I don't know. With the money that's on the books, the Harper, Turner, Nola, I don't know that they're going 3 years, $100 million to Kyle Schwarber.
Okay.
But the bottom line is this: when you go to free agency, you're playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
That's so there could be a sense of urgency there. Let Orion Kerkering see whether he can be your closer. Period. For God's sakes.
You know what should ultimately happen? Jose Alvarado should stop doing PEDs. We could be nearing the end of certain chapters in Philadelphia sports. All right, that is the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
That is beautiful.
Yeah,
that is beautiful. It's been a good day of work.
I love our YouTube chat. Again, it's the randomness of the YouTube chat.
Yes, it's
Because
random.
Some days there are responses to what we're actually talking about. Other days, I see that you can't say that somebody works.
No, but I like the beauty of the beauty of the randomness is what makes it great.
Absolutely.
And also too, I think sometimes you get ideas of what they go off the rails with.
Yeah.
You get ideas of, okay, here's things that you don't even think about, we don't even think about talking about, that they'll be talking about, and you'll go, wow, I never even thought about that.
It's a great community.
Yeah, it's a community.
Now, here's the thing. So, because I know sometimes our YouTube community gets very upset that we don't check the chat often. I get too distracted.
We're too distracted. Well, both of us are. Not. I'm worse than you, so I can't. Because it's
that's why I
too
usually
much.
look during the commercial break, because on the air, if we're trying to talk about something, all of a sudden it's completely different than what we're talking about. I would get distracted.
I told you, I had a doctor come in on the air in Atlanta, test me, and he goes, "You are off the charts ADD."
Oh, hell yeah, man.
And I was like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" And he goes, "Well, you should have been medicated." I said, "Well, okay. What would that have meant?" He goes, "Well, you could have been like a doctor or a lawyer. You said you would have been better in school." And I said, "Hey, doc, what do you do every afternoon when you get out of work?" "You turn on my radio show."
Hell yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, doc.
Yeah.
Hey, FT Young Heating and Air Conditioning made a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR, because cancer research saves lives. The differences in all of us is what we celebrate.
Hell yeah,
It's
man.
beautiful.
Hell
and we
yeah.
appreciate everybody.
Ultimately, we are all human.
By the way, turn over, if you are YouTube folks, today's post-show headlines, it is firsts. Found 5 questions submitted.
Okay.
And I've only heard back from 3 of the question submitters, by the way, that I try to alert them that your question's going to be used. 5 firsts were asked about, and no, not that first.
Okay, good.
Even though I was asked it.
Yeah, I'd rather.
We're not doing that on the
not
YouTube
talk
one.
about that.
Yeah, so there it is. So very good.
Maybe another day.
Maybe another one.
After a few drinks.
There you go.
All right, Mike Missanelli show. No Mikey Miss today. Ray Dunn filling in for
Gunner.
Mikey, and Brendan Gunn producing the show. So it is Ray and B. Gunn. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back at it on Monday, Johnny.
Look forward to seeing you then.
All right, see you guys.
Go Phils.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A tie atop the East. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by